Yeah, how about you?
And then you have this is okay. So then you have your recording going on as well.
Yeah, I'm about to do that right now. So it's live on YouTube, so you can start, talking.
Well, just go ahead. I'll wait until you got it all up and running. You got like streaming like on 9 platforms and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. Let's see.
Okay, there you go. All right. So how are y'all brothers doing, man?
Wow.
Beautiful. It's good to see y'all. Hey, listen, I was thinking about what uh what the dynamic must have been like, and probably still must be like to a certain degree, when the wars back went out, man. Right? Y'all been
Yeah.
y'all been operating around that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what does that show y'all? Aside from the obvious that we get afflicted, you know what I mean? This thing, first of all, let me put that into perspective, right? So that you don't be let's just say bent out of shape, meaning just basically, let's say disoriented. Let's say so that you're not disoriented around having to deal with what a war is going through. Real quick, go to Second Corinthians, right? Second Corinthians, and you're going to start off. Who is that? You, Elisha, back there?
Count it is.
Okay, I'm gonna have you reading until if Amayatazar pops up. Y'all know he's like 7 hours ahead of us, and so he may pop up, he may not. In the meantime, let's take what a war is suffering right now, right? What he's having to fight through. And I'm imagining, Elisha, you have more you're more intimate, you have more intimate proximity to him being your father. So there's a certain state that what y'all doing, man? I'm musical chairs.
Yes, sir. It's a lot.
I didn't hear no music. Let me stop. I knew you guys are arranging it out. I'm messing with y'all. That's all of a sudden, brothers just started shuffling. But like I was saying, Elisha, that him being Award being your father, I know that I'm going to assume that you have more an intimate insight into what he's going through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I catch hell and ain't nobody here to take care of me but my sons, my family, right?
Yeah.
And you brothers, you may, because of that, you may not, you might feel it in a war's quote physical absence, but you really don't get a true appreciation of it because you're not there. He's not on that school floor lying and writhing in pain because he literally can't move.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take that and to put it into perspective first of all, and then that lets you know whether you are intimately and I say intimately meaning just beyond, you have access to him beyond formal settings. This school, I would call it like a formal setting, right? But at his house around the dinner table. So when I say intimate, I don't mean nothing, no romance. I mean intimate in the sense of outside, or let's say more than informal. And a lot of times you don't get to see what your teachers, right, and your shepherds got to literally fight through. Arguments at home, your wife, putting your sons and daughters in the at home, dealing with your parents, or depending on what circumstances you're under, your in-laws. The point is this: what this circumstance is showing you is that you guys have to start thinking. I would phrase it like this, and I'm gonna go by just history, but how it was with our forefathers. You brothers have to be working toward being able to accommodate a next man up scenario. You know what I mean when I say next man up? I mean, somebody get taken down for no matter what it is. Who's going to step up in there? Is the work, is the quality of work, is the level of work, is that going to be degraded? And when I say degraded, I literally mean anything that results in even the slightest diminishing. That means having to cancel the Sabbath. You guys had to suffer degrading right there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to show you. You know why? Because maybe you're not thinking about you guys are responsible for the quote next man up dynamic. That's always going to happen, huh? And it's easy to do when you have somebody that's a competent and reliable instructor, a competent and committed shepherd, right, a steward. And in your minds, it could easily allow you to give that much less. It could allow you, it gives you in your mind. And when I say your mind, I don't mean you. I'm speaking from the perspective of someone who really doesn't understand why they're there. And so you have to, the body has to take a blow. Why do you think your body limps? You get one leg, why do you limp? That's because your other leg is compensating for what the injured leg can't do. That's what a limp is about. When you're mincing somebody, you're trying to get something done and something on you is aching, that's your body compensating for that uncomfortable stimulus that it's receiving. So you have to grow to the point, you should already be there. The majority of you, those of you to whom it applies, to where your contribution results in literally the school being there, your bills getting paid, you, your family, your children eating. This thing is supposed to be a life or death entity. Shalom, Mama Yetta. So we haven't gotten into the scriptures yet. We're going there now. So go to 2 Corinthians.
Shalom.
Shalom, bro. 2 Corinthians chapter. First, I'm taking them just through a verse, just one spot, because I want to really talk about what I'm introducing to them. I'm taking this opportunity. You know, a war has been really out. He's been really, the Most High been hitting him in his back. And it's been more, it's literally for him. And see, I already know about the war's next level challenges. I have been expecting it, to be honest with you. Eliashai, this is way before you were born, brother. I don't know if he told you, but he was in this accident in Oklahoma, him and the brothers, I think it was a Jeep, where they was in an accident where the car got rolled, you know, like in the movies type of rolling.
Yeah.
And nobody had to go to the hospital. But that type of accident alone catches the adjustments, the damage that's done to the body. When you get older, that thing catches up with you. Mm-hmm. So I even asked him the other day, you know, the doctor that's working on you, bro, you got to give him that history. He didn't tell, you know, he didn't think about it, bro. I'm thinking about it all. I've been waiting for the moment when the Most High allows Satan to exploit that happened to him 15, 20 something, not even 20, because I've been here 25 years. So I'm talking about back when the war was, when we had him stationed in Oklahoma, right? When we had a school in Oklahoma City. So first, let's put into perspective this paradigm. Mama Yetizah, 2 Corinthians chapter 4, and I want you to start off at verse 6. It's picking it up from where it says in the beginning of the chapter, where, you know, chapter verses 3, 4, 5 is talking about if our gospel be hid, is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world have blinded the minds, right, of them that believe not, lest the glorious light of the gospel of Christ should shine unto them. So it's picking it up from that thought. It's picking it up from, there is a light, there's a knowledge that we have that is compared to as, it's a knowledge of Christ that is compared to as the light. But us receiving it and being able to understand it is likened unto a light having been shined into our heart. But he's going to tell you where we got this knowledge, the circumstance, right, the condition under which we receive this understanding. So pick it up in verse 6, bro.
2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 6. For the Most High, who commanded the light to shine out of darkness, have shined in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of the Most High in the face of Yahushai.
So all this is saying is that Christ, the Most High, is the one who is responsible for opening your minds for you to see this light, meaning the knowledge of the Most High that is shown in Christ. I mean, it's made manifest through Yahweh Shai. He's the one. We're not smart. We're not intelligent. And all these people out here talking about IQs and all that stuff, that has nothing to do with anything. The Most High is the one who have equipped us to be able to understand. Go ahead, I can read on.
Verse 7. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels.
Stop. So the knowledge that we have and the fact that we understand it, that is considered a treasure in and of itself. But we have that treasure, this understanding, in earthen vessels. That means what? That it's talking about our flawed nature. Right? In earthen vessels, it's talking about our body. We're of the earth. We're corruptible. And I don't mean corruptible only as in, being able to diminish in, let's say, some type of moral quality. I'm speaking of corruptible in the sense of we decompose. Depending on the level of care that you invest in yourself, many of us decompose while we're alive. Why do you think you got so many of us that literally don't even have a humanly form? Why do you think because of what we indulge in, that literally many of our people in general in the world, their appetites and their indulgences have allowed them to become disfigured, grossly disfigured. And we call that gross disfigurement. We call that obesity. We call it all those things. But what it is, it's nothing more than your body crying out against how you have abused it. And that's the thing that the Most High put this knowledge in. An earthen vessel, something that's corruptible, something that easily degrades. Go ahead, read on down. It don't take long. It don't take much to throw our back out. It don't take much to break a person's mind and make him go do something that he or she knows is already destroying them, like taking drugs. People think drugs is the problem. Drugs is not the problem. Any more than poison ivy is the problem. Poison ivy ain't good for you. You ain't eating that, are you? It's you in the mind. There's something wrong with you in the mind where you're going to go in and just take another step towards self-destruction. Let me go in and get high. That's the earthen vessel that it's talking about. We're corruptible. We degrade easily. Go ahead, I'll read on down.
2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 7. We have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of the Most High, and not of us.
That means that when it said the excellency of the power, that means whatever miraculous deed the Most High performs through you, he gives us in these decrepit bodies this great knowledge and does great things through us so that it can be clear to all onlookers that what got done had nothing to do with us. So that it might be of him and not of us. How many of us graduated from high school? How many of us graduated from college? And let me say this, I'm not attributing that to success because I included among myself and a whole bunch of my peers that did graduate from college. What was we doing until we got the truth? Destroying ourselves, just on a higher level. I guess if you want to take our proud testimony of it, we wasn't no different than somebody that didn't go to school. You met the niggas at the club, some of them had degrees and some of them didn't.
Yep.
Half the people on the college campus, more than half right now, are getting high. It's been like that, right? Where did the drug craze in America explode from? The college campuses. So college don't have nothing to do with it. It's the fact that we're degradable. And the Most High takes this knowledge, opens our mind to believe it, puts a spirit in us to be so convicted that now we can be used for him to do things that normally through us couldn't be done. And that's so that he can get the glory and not you. And then you got the other side of the Israelite camps where everybody's getting the glory, where they're allowing their students, right, their congregations to glorify them. Brother, do you know that's appropriation of recognition. You know, you come about cultural appropriation. What about recognition appropriation? The Most High is the one supposed to get the glory. Not no obese man. Not no sellout man. Go ahead and read on down, Amayatazar.
2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 8. We are troubled on every side.
So this is what he's telling you. This is what comes with the Most High opening your mind to this hidden truth, to what he describes in his book itself as a mystery. In order for you to get this, we all have a price to pay. And the price that we pay is having to navigate through various troubled on every side. Right? How many times have we come into jeopardy of losing schools? We still in the school. From my departure from San Antonio, Texas, the setting keep getting humbler and humbler. I mean, you saw the school in Guadalupe, right?
Yeah, it was beautiful.
You know, and then the school that you guys had before you came here. What's that indicative of? It's two things. It's indicative of the fact that you're paying a price, the troubles. But when the quality of the word degrades, so does the quality of the blessing. When the quality of the price being paid, when that price is being paid reluctantly, the Most High compensates you in the fashion that you're what? That you've undertaken this vocation. That's what he's doing is he's mirroring your effort. That's what he does. Wait a minute. Why does it sound so abstract when the scriptures say you reap what you sow? Don't make it seem like I'm coming with something deep. So the Most High says we're troubled on every side. This is the price you pay for the understanding that you have. You have to take this knowledge and navigate through all these what? These troubles. They're nothing more than challenges that's designed to make you rise and use the knowledge that you have in the capacity in which it is intended to be used, not the one that you're just simply relegated to, how you're simply relegated to using it, and it's minimal effort. Because the knowledge is supposed to be used on you first. You are your own first practitioner of this knowledge.
Yep.
So that if you don't do it on you first, remember what we received? We received that light. That's what the scripture before told us. So if you don't allow this light, if you don't embrace what this knowledge is supposed to do to you, then you can't become that light from which this light that's in you can shine and other people see it. Not everybody, just the ones who's intended to be drawn to that type of light. And all of that comes at a price. Go ahead, Amayetazar, keep on reading.
2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 8. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed.
But now listen, from the next couple of verses we're going to read, this is Paul describing the conclusions that his experience led him to. He's not telling you this is how it is. He's letting you know he's arrived at a certain understanding because of this experience, and that's why he can say, we are what? Read that again.
Verse 8, we are troubled on every side, yet not distressed.
Yeah. That means if you really locked in and have given yourself to this work, you've invested so much, you've sown so much that what you have reaped in return is what have taught you no longer distress about the times when what? When you can't pay the rent. The times when some brother wrecked the truck. The times when something happened and the Most High start requiring more of you and you get some bad medical news because of concerning your health or your wife's health or your child's health. All of those things are those things that put you under what? The troubles coming at you, but you don't be distressed. And the reason why I said distressed, because it's talk about this, the sensation, the emotion, I'm gonna use that term, that the experience provokes. Why does he say we're not distressed? He didn't say I never was distressed. Because you read the whole book of Acts, much of the time Paul was in distress. Being let out of windows and baskets, being shipwrecked, being stoned 3 times, being stoned once, but being whipped 3 times, 39 lashes each time. He's talking about after all of that, having been delivered from all of that, he learned not to distress. He embraced it. And we'll get to that later on. That's another lesson. I can show you where he gets to where he embraces it, because that's in his first or second letter to Timothy. But he talks about he fought a good fight. You can, in the words, you can hear he has relinquished his life. He's saying goodbye to Timothy. But all of that was a level of development. Y'all got some thick old incense going on there. There's a fire up in there. I'm kind of sensitive, but we got fires all around out in Guatemala right now. But we can't. I was just wait a minute, that smoke, bro. Somebody hit the alarm, but I'm going to assume that it's incense. And you saw that link that I sent you, right? I'm
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
That's Volcan Agua, bro.
Crazy.
All around it, not just the view from us. It started on the other side. We didn't even know what was going on.
Oh, wow.
3 days ago, it worked its way around to Santa Maria de Jesus.
Crazy.
Anyway, speaking of fires, y'all. So that's what this is really about. You learn from the experiences, you learn to what? For the troubles that you're put in, not to allow yourself to be taken by the stress, the distress. Read on down, now keep on going.
2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 8. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair.
You know what perplexed means? Perplexed means you're going through things, you are going through circumstances that, considering what you invested, considering how you've comported yourself, considering what you've contributed, considering the level of degree that you have actually embraced the work and relinquished your life, what the Most High take you through, it don't make sense to you. That's what perplexities where things just ain't adding up. How come it's like this? Because that's what the Most High takes you through. The whole objective is for your moves, you know, and listen, and the more obedient you've been, the more you sacrifice, the more you relinquish, the more you embrace the fact that you got to go through that, the more perplexing your experience gets. Because if you haven't been embracing this knowledge, if you have in certain ways run from it, not truly delivered yourself to it, then guess what happens? Don't fool yourselves. Everybody knows to the degree that they're suffering, the reason you're suffering is because of you. You know. That's the beautiful thing about this knowledge. You could act like you fool. No, that's why brothers will hold you in damn counsel for 6 hours and really not get to the heart of the matter until the 5th hour, right? It's 3 in the morning, everybody's tired, everybody's eyes is red. There's no type of energy drink that can keep a nigga awake. From that point, then the brother opens up. Because you know, it be about shame. The shame be really pride masquerading as shame. You just didn't want to say, yeah, I did this. Yeah, I fell again. So you make us wait for 6 fucking hours, excuse my language, right? And then when it's 3 in the morning, and even you know you got a move to do the next day, then you finally break.
It's insane.
That's the truth. Y'all want to listen, everybody that knows when you end up in that circumstance, it's not that how it goes.
Yep. All the time. Doesn't fail.
That is ridiculous.
Now, I describe that just to let you know. Those be the brothers that don't be perplexed. They know exactly why they're being plagued. It's because of their own what? Disobedience. Their own being lukewarm. The perplexity comes from the brothers who have given it all. Working out like they might have expected. Because the perplexity for the brothers who really have given it all up, that's the Most High showing them the degree to which they really still haven't given it all up. They're trying to. But the reason why I say that is because if you really given it up, then no matter what the Most High take you through, the only thing that you're really expecting is salvation in the end. Because you were supposed to be a living sacrifice any damn way. So you ain't upset at the fact that you ain't got them shoes, or you didn't get that car, or you didn't get the apartment, or you can't get the type of woman you want. You're going to get the type of woman that's like you. The Most High said, a wicked man is given to a wicked woman, a righteous man gets a virtuous one. Which one are you? Then surprise, the righteous man has to take the wicked woman and create a virtuous one. What makes her virtuous is the fact that the Most High opened her heart, like he opened yours, to understand the truth. Now you have to become the practitioner of that medicine. So you end up with a virtuous woman. But have you gone through that first?
Mm.
And I'm describing these things that produce perplexity, that have you come back and say, I'm doing everything the way it's supposed to be done, but what? But it's not working out. It's not falling in place. This don't make sense. I'm perplexed. You know why? Because you're still holding on to something. That something is simply whatever you was expecting. That's all. Because our true expectation awaits us when this is all over. All the Gospels tell you that. You know that, right?
Yeah.
I said, you follow me, you sell all that you have, you give it to the poor, and great is your reward in heaven. So that means the greatest we're supposed to expect is what? Is to be used in the highest capacity that we will what? That we will prepare ourselves to be used. Anyway, read on down. We still get, but I'm trying to show you the fact that you get this understanding. Yeah, I think I see your hand. Is that your hand up, brother?
No, sir.
Go ahead.
Just trying to understand what you said. You said we're still holding on to something.
Yeah. Who's not holding on to something? Let me say this. This is not for you to confess. This is not me going to ask the question and expect an answer. This is for you to reflect. So that means, listen, let me finish this and I'll show you. What I'm trying to do is explain. I'm trying to give a scripture that explains what the war is going through and what that means for you guys. And that's why, like I said, the phrase that I think that comes up to mind is next man up. And I'm looking at it like we're in a battle and the war's not out, but he got taken out, he got injured. He caught an arrow in the thigh, right? Caught an arrow in the hip, boom. Came, brothers and pulled him off on the stretchers. All right, who's next? We didn't read about that. We read about how when Judas fell in battle, Jonathan stood up. Simon stood up, right? That's how it was. One after the next. That's what you guys are supposed to be preparing yourself for. Because what we're reading is going to come whether you're ready for it or not. But the fact that it's coming, meaning the war have suffered something that left him a little bit, not even way more debilitated than before, is indicative of the demand that's not being met. The Most High want more out of you guys. And he's showing you. You've been exploited. Your work has been degraded. A Sabbath had to be canceled. This had to be canceled. That had to be. That ain't what this work is about. It's supposed to be next man up. And that goes to show you, what, Lord forbid, what happened if a brother can't be there no more? What's going to happen to the work? Who's going to assume the responsibility? Who's going to take that yoke, slap it around their neck like a beast of burden and say, come on, let's go, brothers? Who's going to do it? Because this, what we're reading is inevitable. This is standard protocol. You come into this work, you catch hell, and you learn how through many troubles, eventually you learn, you grow to the point where those troubles no longer distress you. Read on down, I'm going to get this up. Keep on reading. 2
Corinthians chapter 4, verse 9. Persecuted, but not forsaken.
Yeah, you know what persecution is. Persecution is just in the sense of under attack, under assault. When he say not forsaken, that means what? That means the Most High is always there. But in order for you to appreciate him being there, you have to be persecuted so that you can be delivered. That's how he operated with our forefathers. That's the case. Abraham would have never been afflicted in his mind to give up Sarah. Twice. Jacob wouldn't have sweated the fact that Levi and Simeon just went and completely destroyed a whole damn, Canaanite nation, one of the families, and killed all the men and took the women and little ones and the animals, slayed. Jacob, Jacob was afraid. Jacob said, you have made us to be abhorred by all the people among whom we're strangers. But then when you read the scriptures, the Most High said that little action caused all the Canaanites, the fear of Jacob's family to fall on all the Canaanites. Jacob was afraid, but the Most High wanted that to happen so the rest of the Canaanites would know not to mess with this family. And that's exactly what happened. So you got to be persecuted in order for the Most High to demonstrate to you not only that he delivers, but that he does so in the most miraculous ways, in the most unexpected ways. And that's all that you can do is commit yourself to what the Most High, the yoke that he have you on. Keep on reading, Amayatazar.
2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 9. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed.
Yeah, cast down means what? You're going to be knocked down. And it could be from anything. It could be how you're perceived, right? It could be your quality of living. It could be the circumstance under which you live in. It could be your economy you're living off. There was times when me and Amayatazar literally lived off of 25 quetzales a week per person in this camp. Every year, come between September and November, he's got always, the economy in the place where we lived at, it's very cyclical, and we knew that the hardest times always came between September and November. And during the month of September and November, first of all, there was so little money that we lived off of the coins. I used to keep them coins in that big old 5-gallon water bottle, right, Mama Yetazal?
Yeah.
Come Friday, we're divvying up the money for it was Mercado Day. So Amayatazar would walk into the table and see his 5 stacks of 5 features, by 5 coins, five 1 quetzal coins. He only had 1 person, and I had 3 people in my house, so I got 75 of them.
Do you know what? That experience traumatized me so much that October is just forever said in my mind as a bad month. Whenever October comes, I'm just like, it's gonna be a bad month.
You're out there in London now, right?
Honestly, that experience.
Listen, do me a favor, do 25 quetzales divided by, is divided by 7.5. I'm sure how much we had to live off in dollars for years. For 3 months.
$3.33.
So now $3.33 is what Amayatazar had to live off for the week. Amayatazar, to multiply that by 3, because my household, we had 3.
3.33 times 3. $9.99.
That's not even $10, y'all, for a whole week for 3 people.
Rice and beans. One
Rice
meal a
and
day.
beans, brother, and vegetables.
1 meal a day.
1 meal a day, baby. That's how we did it. But guess what grew out of that? This mad appreciation for the health that a humble diet imports.
Yeah.
It got to the point where during the most bountiful times, I go to Amayatazar's apartment, he's sitting up there chopping up his vegetables. Got his rice on the stove. Still eating the same way. But we've been fortunate now we can get a drumstick thrown in there. Then we look at each other and be like, yeah, nigga, this is living. Right? But that's what affliction do to you. That's why I say cast down. The Most High is going to drop you down. But when he say not forsaken, you have to adapt to what that setting requires.
Yeah.
This is the cost of you getting understanding. This is the cost of this, the price you pay for being able to understand this word. And listen, and in other books, what is it? 2 Timothy, maybe? This is what Paul describes as striving for your mastery lawfully, because this is the way Christ set it up to be experienced. Not lasciviously, but humbly. Go ahead, keep on reading.
2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 10. Always bearing about in the body the dying of the Lord Yahushua.
Listen to what he's telling you. The ultimate experience, all of those troubles, they are used to train your spirit to begin to what? To know how to suffer and work through the affliction that the Most High is going to put your body through. Always bearing about in the body. Now, this is what a war is going through. Read that verse again. Always bearing about.
always bearing about in the body the dying of the Lord Yahushua.
That means, with what intention? Keep reading.
That the life also of Yahushua might be made manifest in our body.
See, if the Most High, Yahushua, if he's going to work through us and that work be made visible to other people, then the death that Christ died has to be experienced in this same body, and that be visible to people as well. And I suspect, not consciously, but in that, remote corner of your mind, this is what brothers be running from. You know it pays. You know it pays the cost to be the boss. You know that this life, to have Christ work through you, you have to have what? All this is telling you is that in order for the resurrected aspect of Christ to work for you, you have to experience his dying. But it says you got to do so daily. That's the price that the brother's paying. Read on down.
Verse 11. For we which live are always delivered unto death for Yahushua's sake.
This is your calling. This is what we have to grow to be at peace with. And now, beyond being at peace with it, we have to grow to expect it, because it's the price that's paid for what's being offered. And not only do we grow to expect it, then we grow to what? We grow to embrace it. And this is what Paul meant when he says, therefore, if I'm going to glory, that means if I'm going to boast, he said, I'm going to glory in my infirmities. I'm going to boast in the fact that I've been catching hell for this work. In my finances, in my family, my relationship, in my body, and the dynamic that the Most High sows among my responsibility at the school. Let me say this out. Why do you think that I was this experience? For those of you that have been here long enough, that come from the zone with the first school that we had out there, the first official school, you know why those conditions got to change? Because if you guys still had the school in Guadalupe, if you still had the house on Glenview, guess what? What would you have to strive for? What experience do you get that the Most High uses to teach you that he will work through you? But first, what's required? What do you have to do? What do you got to be willing to endure for the Lord to work for you? You wouldn't have that. That's why from shepherd to shepherd, the circumstances always change. From one steward to the next, the Most High, it's almost like, okay, all right, and he, like the nigga get mad, he losing the chest, yeah, and he just knock all the pieces off. Well, the Most High just take all them pieces of the chessboard and say, well, this lesson's been learned. Right, the new shepherd come in, he come in under what? Under almost like a blank slate. And the blank slate is always something got to be put back in order. That's how it always is, right? That's how it always is. That is how it's never going to stop being like that. Why? Because without that, the shepherd, all the sheep, the steward, all of the co-laborers, they never get that experience that's necessary. It's the work that you submit to. That's what brings you to the will of the Most High. And that's what also manifests whether or not you really want to serve the Most High in the capacity that you deceived yourself into believing you really in there. Because most of us come in, we deceive ourselves. We always know we can do more. But read that verse 11 one more time. I think I want your last one to be verse 12. That might be the last one, or verse 12. Go ahead and read it.
Verse 12. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 11. For we which live are always delivered unto death for Yahushua's sake, that the life also of Yahushua might be made manifest in our mortal flesh.
Just remember, that's the price. That's why the Lord said, I gave you this knowledge in earthen vessels. In other words, I put this great knowledge, this spiritual knowledge in you in corruptible bodies, so that number one, the things that I do for you, I get the recognition for. And number two, you get to pay the price, right? You get to suffer so that you can see that I'm going to be there and deliver you. But you get to take some physical hits in your body. Because why? Because if the risen form of my son is going to dwell and do works for you, then you have to also partake of that what? Of that human form. The one that got abused, the one that was mistreated, the one that was tortured and then executed. You got to experience him. And guess the beautiful thing is you do it simultaneously. One will be back. That's just the Most High preparing him. I was talking to him, so them brothers got to step up their game. Y'all can't all be relying on Eliashai. He gonna do it. What are you gonna do? You can't be relying on Shamshuan, Dawiyah. I'm talking about everybody in there. You can't be relying on the next man. You have to undertake it to do. I'm going to be the one that contributes what's required to cross that next threshold. That's why you're there. That's why you, let me say this. What am I speaking of but the natural course, the natural process that the Most High did with us? Let's talk about when we came out of Egypt. First of all, he said this. Why are you all there? I'm going to tell you why you're all there, whether male or female. You're there to help who the incumbent shepherd is do his job. That's what you're there for. And that makes you, in serving the Most High, that makes you a war's servant. I'm going to go and give you this in the scripture. And a war, he's a servant of the Most High, and he's your servant. But how does he serve you? He serves you in preparing you to be able to accommodate effectively and powerfully what this life requires of you. And so he don't get to take a break until the Most High make him take a break. And that's what happened. Then the Most High got him off, reflecting and breaking his ass down and showing him, see, everything you be, whatever's coming, the war need to know that it wasn't him. See, nigga, you can't even walk. That's the truth. That's how it always is. Whatever's coming, it's going to be something great. But this experience, aside from humbling the war and showing him that it's not even him, don't think it. It's not you teaching, it's me using you as a vessel to teach. It's not you making these decisions, it's me inside your mind making sure that wisdom meets you in every thought. All the things that get done, that's because my grace is with you because of what you're doing. But he needs to be reminded. Now, in the meantime, this paradigm it begs the question, so who, like I said, who's the next man up? And that's where you're lacking. All those nightly councils where you make brothers wait forever, all those mornings when you get there late, all those times where you keep on going back to the club, where you fall back on drugs, fighting with your parents, all of that shit, that's how you guys waste time. That's just proof that you haven't given yourself over to it yet. But I'm going to tell you something. The Most High is going to take, guess who he's going to, I mean, listen now, go to Exodus, actually. Let's start off with Exodus. Go to Exodus chapter 24. Now, I'll tell you the verse when I get there. Exodus chapter 24, and you're going to read 12 and 13. What does this answer? It answers the question, who the Most High ordains to do his work. So I'm yet to say, you're in Exodus chapter 24. Chapter 24 is right. Exodus 24. That's where the Most High actually makes the covenant. Read Exodus. I think it's Exodus chapter 24. Read Exodus chapter 24. Go ahead. Verses 12 and 13.
Exodus chapter 24, verse 12. And the Lord said unto Moses, come up to me into the mount and be there. And I will give thee tables of stone and a law and commandments which I have written, that thou mayest teach them.
Go ahead.
And Moses rose up, and his minister Joshua. And Moses went up into the mount of the Most High.
Now, little subtle thing there, because we don't be thinking about it, but Joshua was Moses' servant. You know what a minister is, right? Minister is a servant. Joshua was literally the servant of Moses. So it's no wonder that once the Most High was done with Moses, and Moses, matter of fact, I'm putting the cart before the horse. So that's that one. Let's get a little bit more. I'm just calling to your attention that Moses, all the works that he did, Aaron was by his side. The Most High described the relationship between Moses and Aaron as Moses being a god and Aaron being Moses' own prophet. Aaron was the spokesperson for Moses because Moses wasn't too good in the Hebrew. See this day that I have made you as a God, and Aaron thy brother is thy prophet. That's the relationship. But Joshua was his servant. Joshua was his gopher. When Moses needed something at any given moment, whether expected or not, Joshua was responsible for getting it done. Let me show you. So go, well, the next one will be Numbers. Is that, no, it's going to be Exodus
11 and 28.
Huh?
Numbers 11 and 28.
No. I want the one in Exodus first. I'm following the trajectory.
Okay.
And you said Numbers 27, right?
No, Numbers 11 and 28.
We'll get there. Yeah, I want that one. Matter of fact, go ahead and start off with that one, but I want you to read verses 10 through 17. I want you to read, no. Listen to this. This is what I want. I want Exodus chapter, you just did chapter 24, right?
Yeah.
I want chapter 38 first. You're going to read verses 8 through 11.
Exodus chapter 38, verse 8. And he made the laver of brass, and the foot of it of brass.
Let me see. Hold on. Is that Exodus 38?
Yeah.
I think I might have a, hold up. Where am I at? Exodus 33, bro.
Okay.
Go to Exodus 33. I'm sorry. Exodus chapter 33 and verse 8. Yes.
Exodus chapter 33, verse 8. And it came to pass when Moses went out unto the tabernacle, that all the people rose up and stood every man at his tent door, and looked after Moses until he was gone into the tabernacle.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass, as Moses entered into the tabernacle, the cloudy pillar descended and stood at the door of the tabernacle, and the Lord talked with Moses.
Read on.
And all the people saw the cloudy pillar stand at the tabernacle door. And all the people rose up and worshipped, every man in his tent door.
Go ahead.
Verse 11. And the Lord spake unto Moses face to face.
Now, later on, in John, I think chapter 6, you find out that when it said the Lord, it's not talking about the Most High. It's talking to Christ, let you know that that was him speaking to Moses face to face. But anyway, go ahead.
Exodus 33, verse 11. And the Lord spake unto Moses face to face, as a man speaketh unto his friend. And he turned again unto the camp, but his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, departed not out of the tabernacle.
That means I'm trying to show you Joshua was Moses's, he's also referred to as the servant of the man of the Most High, the servant of the man of God. He was there the whole time, and he would listen. And then when we read this, you finally understand why Joshua was chosen. Why you got the book of Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and then we go into Joshua because Joshua was the next man up. But what justified Joshua as having been the next man up? It was because the whole time he was being brought up. He was serving Moses. He was helping Moses do his job. Mm-hmm. Now it got to the point where the people got so damn rambunctious, the congregation, to where even Moses was ready to die. Moses said, Lord, let's read that. That one is in Numbers 11. I'm yet to say, but I want you to start off at what? I want you to start off at verse 10. I say verse 10. If we start off at verse 1, you're gonna get the whole account where the people start complaining because they want some meat. They ain't had meat in a while. They've been eating this manna. And the Most High gets angry at them, but they get to the point where the level of complaining is such that Moses was vexed unto death. Now listen to what Moses says. You're going to first read verses 10, right? Numbers chapter 11, verses 10 through 17.
Numbers chapter 11, verse 10. Then Moses heard the people weep throughout their families, every man in the door of his tent.
Right. And what they were doing was they listen, they was not without food. They just what? They just wanted some meat. Literally. They wanted meat, and now they're crying. Go ahead.
And the anger of the Lord was kindled greatly. Moses also was displeased. And Moses said unto the Lord, wherefore hast thou afflicted thy servant?
You got to listen to this. When he said thy servant, he's talking about the effect that these people's complaining is having on him. Why you put me under this? Now, this is Numbers chapter 11. This is considering the fact that Moses done been up to the mountain twice. Right? Exodus chapter, what is it, 24 to 32 or something like that? Yeah. He goes up, comes down with the 10 commandments, and Israel, Aaron, his own brother, had already made a golden calf. Breaks the calf, the whole story, right? Moses had to go up to the mountain again. Now, the first time he was up, while those tablets were being written by the finger of the Most High, guess what Moses was doing for 40 days and 40 nights? Fasting. Not eating anything or drinking anything. Fasting. He come down and see this abomination take place. He has to go right up there again. Now, remember what happened when he came down. Moses was shining because he had been in the presence of Yahushua, who was representing the Most High. And that glory was on Moses. And from that day forward, he wore a veil because of the Most High's power on him. Why am I doing that? I'm taking this and putting it into perspective. Even with the power of the Most High, Moses, and it was visible to where anytime Moses was in the face of the people, he had to wear a veil. When he went into the tabernacle, he took the veil off. Y'all gotta read your history. That's how that went down. So even with the virtue of the Most High on him, guess what happened? They wore him down. He still felt the affliction behind them and their what? Their unappreciative nature. Always complaining. Read on down, man. Call your verse up.
Numbers chapter 11 and verse 11. And Moses said unto the Lord, wherefore hast thou afflicted thy servant? And wherefore have I not found favor in thy sight, that thou layest the burden of all this people upon me?
I thought you were showing me some favor. But he's showing you. Let me say this. This is Moses. All this goes to show you is Moses was a man. He was dedicated. And he really cared about the people. But even with the virtue of the Most High on him, right, the level of responsibility for this people, he's saying it can't be borne by one man. That's in other words, the conditions that the men are always being prepared for a next man up scenario is always there. Read on down. I'll keep on reading.
Numbers chapter 11 and verse 12. Have I conceived all this people? Have I begotten?
Go ahead.
Have I conceived all this people? Have I begotten them, that thou shouldest say unto me, carry them in thy bosom, as a nursing father beareth the sucking child, unto the land which thou swearest upon their fathers?
Yeah, am I supposed to do this? Did I engender all of these people? This is him pleading for the Most High because of the people can't be satisfied. Read on down.
Verse 13. Whence should I have flesh to give unto all this people?
Because that's what, you read verse 5, 4 and 5. They just want some meat. I wish we was back in Egypt. Y'all remember we used to eat the fishes all by together. Remember in between building pyramids, nigga would have a fish sandwich, and now he's ready to go back to that slavery. Never mind your children who's getting cast in the Nile River to be eaten by crocodiles and hippopotamuses, but them damn fish. But the fish though. Right. This is like the niggas today complaining to fight over a Chick-fil-A sandwich, y'all. Never mind the death and destruction that they were under. At this moment, all they can remember is a fish sandwich. Go ahead, I read it. Moses said, I can't give all these people meat. Go ahead.
Numbers chapter 11, verse 14. I'm not able to bear all this people alone because it is too heavy for me. And if thou do thus with me, kill me, I pray thee, out of hand, if I have found favor in thy sight.
If you really love me, Lord, kill me and get me out from under the burden of these people. That's what Israel does to their teachers. It's the reality of it. And I don't mean, you don't say these words, but constantly going back and putting yourself in the circumstances that cause you to fall, and then expecting the brother to be able to help you dig yourself out of your damn guilt complex, to help you detox you. He have to do whatever it takes to keep what little fear of the Lord you have, just to get you to show up for work on time, or have the proper attitude while you're at work. Some of y'all run around here you're mad at your mamas, you're mad at your daddies, you're mad at life. It's like the knowledge of Deuteronomy 28 haven't served as medicine enough for you to put that to the side. You haven't let this knowledge actually heal you, so you still use it as an excuse to feed off of all your weaknesses. That's the burden that the teachers be under now. That the fact that you'll do things and say things, whether with each other or with clients, that jeopardize the very way you pay your bills. That's what the shepherds be having to deal with. You'll get a blessing and be selfish as hell with it. When that simple thing, people trying to push the school or the operation that you got going over the next threshold. But no, you got it for you. But then you'll still come and get what the school got to offer. That's not, it's longer than Santa Claus was this. And it's all naughty. None of it is nice. And so Moses is saying, Lord, if this is what favor looks like, kill me. But what am I trying to show you? What Paul described in 2 Corinthians chapter what? Chapter 4, even Moses was under that. He wasn't having to bear in his body the death of Christ, but he was what? He was having to bear the sufferings and affliction that come with serving the Lord and serving this unruly people. That it was like that before Christ came. And Moses is saying, Lord, help. And the help that you can extend is killing me. Read that verse one more time. Read verse 15.
Numbers chapter 11, verse 15. And if thou do thus with me, kill me, I pray thee, out of hand, if I have found favor in thy sight.
Yeah, if you really do favor me, you'll take my life. Go ahead.
And let me not see my wretchedness.
What wretchedness is he referring to? The wretchedness that he's referring to is it take all of these people and their complaints and their rebellion to manifest what? That we're inadequate for them. We're not what these people need. Only the Most. That's why the Most High tell you. I think it's in Deuteronomy chapter 8. He tells you why he put us through all that affliction. Just before we go into the land of Canaan, he in chapter 1 of Deuteronomy, all till about chapter 8 or 10, he walks us through, maybe a little bit farther in. He walks us through what he took us through from the time that we got out of Egypt up until that moment. And he comes back and he tells Moses to tell us, I was trying you guys so that you could know that man did not live by bread alone. This is what Christ quoted when he was fighting with Satan in Luke chapter 4. When Christ said it is written, man should not live by bread alone, he was quoting what the Most High had Moses tell Israel why he caused us to suffer, why he caused us to go without. He said, I wanted to see what type of fortitude you have so that you could see in the end what type of blessing I had reserved for you. And you guys complained the whole way. The point I'm trying to show you, Moses, when he says wretchedness, Moses knew he wasn't the man for that job. So before it manifests how inadequate I am, kill me. comes to the same conclusion about himself, right? At the end of Romans chapter 7. Oh, wretched man that I am. Who shall deliver me from this body of sin? Why? Because for all the knowledge that he had and for all the virtue that the Most High did through Paul's body, you know, Paul was the one where the Most High people was touching Paul's clothes. They were bringing aprons and rags for Paul to touch, and they take them down to rags and aprons, no matter how many miles away. And whoever was afflicted that touched that apron, that touched that piece of material that had touched Paul's body, they was healed, Doc. And with all of that, Paul still knew that he was inadequate. And that's what chapter 7 is about. Chapter 7 is about the struggle in himself. That sometimes the things that I know I'm supposed to do, I don't do. And the things that I know I'm not supposed to do, those are the things I do. Who's going to deliver me from this wretched body? Moses had that moment thousands of years before Paul. Because the Most High used Israel to show all of his shepherds that it's not me. It's not you guys that's doing this, it's me. And Moses got to the point where he was done. Go ahead and read on down. So how does the Most High remedy that? Read verse 16 and 17.
Numbers chapter 11 and verse 16. And the Lord said unto Moses, gather unto me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom thou knowest to be the elders of the people.
Now hold on, 7-0. Guess what the Lord said? Take 7, when he said whom thou knowest, that means these people under Joshua, these men had proven themselves to be the caretakers. The elder was not talking about the oldest person there. You go and you read the book of Acts, Paul is running through different schools. There's a certain chapter where it tells you where, and so when they had did all the work, they set elders up in all the schools. They're talking about they put people who assumed the responsibility for the congregation, its needs, and all of the issues that would come up in Paul's absence. That's what an elder is. So these 70 men already had the reputation through Joshua to what? These are the cats that'll step in and assume responsibility for the people. Now, how did they do that? When did they do that? It goes all the way back to the time when Moses' father-in-law said, man, you can't do this by yourself. You got to set up captains of what? Thousands, hundreds, 50s, and 10s. So out of all those people, the Most High ended up choosing 70. And listen to what he did with this 70. Go ahead, Amiyatazar. Read verse 16 and 17. 16 again, please.
Numbers chapter 11 and verse 16. And the Lord said unto Moses, gather unto me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom thou knowest to be the elders of the people, and officers over them. And bring them unto the tabernacle of the congregation, that they may stand there with thee.
Go ahead.
And I will come down and talk with thee there. And I will take of the spirit which is upon thee, and will put it upon them.
Yes, since what I gave you, you can't handle it, I'm going to take a little bit of what I already gave you and put some of it on them. Most I about to dispense them over here is out. Nigga, that's your work. You need help. Okay, I'm going to take the virtue that's on you and put it on. Now, who were those men? Those were the men under Joshua who were already working the most intimately with Moses. If you go back to the chapter where Moses' father-in-law, Jethro, taught him, suggested to him how to order all of these people, those were the ones that were reporting to Moses the issues that were too hard for them. But if the issues were not too hard for them, they handled it themselves, and those issues never made it back to Moses' ears. And the people that were under those particular men's authority, everything was fine. So the people and Moses and Joshua, they all knew who the responsible ones were. Now, guess what? Because of the work that they had invested in the flock, from the time of Moses' father-in-law suggesting that format up to this point, these were the ones that ended up being what? The next men up. It's all about responsibility. It's always been about responsibility. You go back and you read when the Most High had Moses, his father-in-law, suggest that, it was about assuming responsibility, just like now. You're not supposed to be in there just passing through. If you are, brother, you one of the 3 seeds that don't make it. Remember the parable of the sower? How out of all spirits that come through, you got 4 types, and of those 4 types, only 1 type stays.
Yeah.
If you're there with the passing through mentality, believe it or not, you are walking, talking, and self-fulfilling prophecy. Your ass is passing through. If you're not there to be worked on, to be changed by the Spirit of the Most High in Christ, so that you can service the needs that your people that come through those doors have, you ain't going to be there long. I'm going to show y'all that. So I'm going to get to that. Before we go, listen, this is read verse 17 one more time.
Numbers chapter 11 and verse 17. And I will come down and talk with thee there, and I will take of the Spirit which is upon thee, and will put it upon them. And they shall bear the burden of the people with thee, that thou bear it not thyself alone.
So that's what this is about, bearing burden, y'all, carrying the load. You ain't there to be a forever patient. You get to the point where let me rephrase that. We are there to be a forever patient. But the level of sickness and the medicine administered is such that you go from being a patient who has his medicine administered to him by being one that can what? Self-administer and then begin to administer to others. None of us are ever going to be 100%. My ass has still got some issues, but I'm able to handle my issue. That's the reality. I'm just as insane as the rest of you there. Remember, our illness, y'all remember a couple of weeks ago, however long it's been, right? We know that our sickness, and we're insane. The level of insanity is what? Is we have wicked minds. We got wicked imaginations. We got wicked impulses. We got wicked responses. We got wicked solutions. Right? Everything's wicked. That's true. That's why we need the word. But you grow from a point from having to have that word administered to you like a child to being able to administer it to yourself. You got to accept the medicine. So that why? Because there's other people coming in and they need some of you to be healthy enough to begin to administer medicine to them. That's what this is about, bro. And those are the ones who the Most High is telling you, puts his virtue on, the ones that have already proven themselves. But then he brings circumstances about to manifest that what? It's time for other men now to step up. So with the war with his back in the level of this, it's time for men to step up, huh? And nobody saw this coming because nobody wants it to come. And you're not supposed to want it to come what? Somebody that's so down, he can't be at the school. He got to call an ambulance to get to have a paramedic to take him from downstairs of his house to upstairs of his house. How do you do that? But shit happens, and that's the will of the Most High. That's the price we pay. But from the time that you've been there to now, have you been preparing yourself? Because if you have, that's what the Most High is waiting for. He's waiting to see who's the next man that's been working with war. Then I'm going to share some of the war's virtue with them. I'm going to show you that with Joshua. Let's finish this one. Go, jump down. You hit the same chapter, right? This is chapter 11, right? Jump down to chapter 24. You're going to read verses 24 to the end. No. You're going to read 24 to verse 30 only.
Okay. Numbers chapter 11 and verse 24. And Moses went out and told the people the words of the Lord, and gathered the 70 men of the elders of the people, and set them round about the tabernacle. And the Lord came down in the cloud, and spake unto him, and took of the Spirit that was upon him, and gave it unto the 70 elders.
Can you imagine what it must have been like to live in them days? Just to have what it appears is the Holy Spirit, the Most High, that virtue readily available for those that's willing to assume work and responsibility. You wanted to see me. Do they feel something? I don't know. But they got it, whether they felt it or not. Go ahead and read on down.
And it came to pass that when the Spirit rested upon them, they prophesied and did not cease.
I guess they did feel something. They all started prophesying. That Spirit was evident on. And like I said, we saw in our study with the brothers, right? That's what happened when the Most High anointed David. That's what happened when he anointed Saul. That's what happened when he sent men to come and capture David. But came in proximity of Samuel. The Spirit was following him, was prophesying. Go ahead, read on down.
Verse 26. But there remained 2 of the men in the camp. The name
That
of the
means
one.
2 of the 70 men, listen, 2 of the 70 men didn't come to the door of the tabernacle, but because they were chosen, it happened to them also while they were still in the camp. Go ahead.
But there remained 2 of the men in the camp. The name of the one was Eldad, and the name of the other Medad. And the Spirit rested upon them, and they were of them that were written, but
When it
went
says
not.
written, meaning they were of the 70 that were listed. Go ahead.
And they were of them that were written, but went not out unto the tabernacle. And they prophesied in the camp.
Go ahead.
And there ran a young man and told Moses, and said, Eldad and Medad do prophesy in the camp.
Because they didn't know that these 2 men was on the list of those that went to the tabernacle, but they didn't go. But because they were on the list, the Most High honored it and put his Spirit on them outside in the camp, not at the tabernacle door. Somebody went to tell Moses, right? Man, these 2 dudes out here prophesying. They go ahead, read on down.
Verse 28. And Joshua, the son of Nun, the servant of Moses.
Listen to this. Well, all of that reading just to show you, the whole time these men came up under Joshua. Joshua was the servant of Moses, man. And that's why the book after the book of Deuteronomy is the book of Joshua. Read on down.
Verse 28 of Numbers chapter 11. And Joshua, the son of Nun, the servant of Moses, one of his young men, answered and said, My Lord Moses, forbid them.
Yeah, in other words, Joshua was like, man, make them stop. Joshua was telling Moses, man, them 2 dudes, they didn't go to the tabernacle. They're not among the 70. Now watch what Moses said. Go ahead.
Verse 29. And Moses said unto him, Enviest thou for my sake?
Yeah, don't be envious of them for my sake. Go ahead.
Would the Most High that all the Lord's people were prophets, and that the Lord would put his Spirit upon them.
He said, he said, would be great if the Most High, if everybody was a prophet, and the Most High would put his Spirit on all of his people. Because why? Because they wear you out, huh? Israel wear you. Look at what they did to Jeremiah. You guys are studying. You don't study what they did to Jeremiah, what they did to Isaiah, Manasseh, how he killed Isaiah. Israel is brutal against the servants of the Most High. Read on down, verse 30.
Verse 30. And Moses gat him into the camp, he and the elders of Israel.
Right. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to go to one more before we shift gears. Go to chapter 27, and you're going to read, let me get there. What? This is Numbers. So Numbers 27. Numbers chapter 27, and you're going to start off at verse 12. What's taking place here? Moses is being prepared to die. Well, Moses ain't going to just rip Moses off the face of the planet. Someone has to what? Someone's got to be the next man up. And that's what's getting ready to take place. The reason why we went to Exodus 24, Exodus 33, Numbers 11, so that you can see Joshua was the servant the whole time. Joshua, the book is, the story, the account is not about Joshua, so you only get snapshots of the fact that he was there and what role he played. He was the servant of Moses. Now what happened? Now that Moses is being getting ready to, guess who? The Most High is going to honor Moses. This is going to be Moses' request. This is who Moses thought fit. Go ahead, Amayekazal. Read verse 12.
Numbers chapter 27 and verse 12. And the Lord said unto Moses, Get thee up into this Mount Abarim, and see the land which I have given unto the children of Israel. And when thou hast seen it, thou also shalt be gathered unto the people, as Aaron thy brother was gathered.
Yeah, Aaron died a couple of chapters before this. He said, listen, I'm not going to let you see it. You get to see the land, but you're going to die like your brother Aaron did. Go ahead.
Verse 14. For ye rebelled against my commandment in the desert of Zin, in the strife of the congregation, to sanctify me at the water before their eyes.
Mhm.
That is the water of Meribah in Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin.
He's speaking of what took place in chapter 20. Chapter 20 of Exodus, verses 1 through 13, when the Most High told Moses a second time. This was the second time when the Most High was going to have Moses bring water from the rock. And he told Moses, go and speak to the rock and tell it. He said, take the staff you got, but go speak to the rock and tell it to give you water. Moses went up to that rock, took his staff and hit it. Do it. And he was speaking of himself and Aaron. You know why? Because Moses was speaking out of the extreme that the people drove him to emotion. And that's a lesson in and of itself. There's a level, there's a certain line beyond which you cannot cross emotionally. There's a level of disassociation that you have to maintain so that you can what? Please the Heavenly Father and do his work out. For me, emotions. Let's do like this. Let's take your body and imagine like a set of keys, right? Or your book. That's you in emotion. It's always accessible to you. It's there for you to use the proper ones in the moment that you need them. But they're not a part of it. They're utensils. It's like you need a fork to eat spaghetti with. Don't try to eat spaghetti with a spoon. Or try to eat cereal, bowl of milk with a fork. That's what emotions are. Emotions are instruments and tools that the Most High gave you to accommodate you being able to navigate through circumstances that require you behave and react a certain way. So you don't go to a funeral and bust out laughing like the Joker on the bus. Y'all ever seen that new movie? The new one with the Joker is kind of a weak ass movie. The nigga just on the bus laughing. Imagine somebody doing that at a funeral. Right? Or crying woefully at a wedding or some joyous occasion. In other words, the behavior has to accommodate the circumstance, and that's what emotions are for. You ain't supposed to be mad, angry all the time. You're supposed to be sad all the time. The scriptures say, take that heavy heart and drive it far from you, because depression hath killed many. What's going to be honoring you sitting down with your head down? Nigga, come and serve the Lord and get happy. Lord Christ say, what? With me, you should have joy. You're coming into the school always depressed. I don't have time for that. So your emotions are what? Are utensils. Now, sisters, to say don't knock at you, but you got to take them emotions. And emotions for sisters, for women, they are an attachment that do the same thing. I say attachment, meaning imagine emotions being another extension, like a woman guy, not trying to say she like the Indian goddess, whatever her name is, but imagine the level, the tools of emotions that women have. They got the same ones as us, but they serve the same purpose to help her properly navigate through the circumstances adequately, right? But the Most High made them to be a part of her as opposed to us. They are tools for us that we're only supposed to what? That's what makes her the nurturing creature. That's what makes her more able to associate with things that are needed in what? In a person's emotional state. Because that's part of her arsenal. Go out into the world and see how the women roll and how they behave that have mastered the art of detaching themselves from emotion. And what they come across as? Masculine, y'all know that. Heartless, uncaring, hard, bitter. Because for the success, the career, that's what they had to sacrifice. They had to sacrifice an extension of themselves. Then go look at all the men who literally have emotion as an attachment to them. You can't tell them on top of that. So Moses went up to that rock and did exactly what the Most High said not to do. Most High said, go speak to the rock, Moses. And so the Lord is telling you, and when he said, do we, meaning himself and Aaron, the Lord said, you didn't glorify me. Now, why is that important? Because it shows you, even from the beginning, Exodus chapter 2, even until Numbers, what did we just read? Numbers chapter, what was it, like Numbers chapter 11? Well, Moses was like, Lord, just going to kill me. These people are dry, I can't do it. But they started off wearing him down. Aside from the times when, this is the thing, I'm going to show you. I'm not trying to poop on Moses. I'm trying to show you how serious Moses loved his people. That was his flaw, his inability to detach emotionally. Why? To prove how great he was, he never harbored resentment after all the time they literally picked up stones to kill him. Didn't phase him. He was only ever afflicted behind them suffering. Moses was too emotionally attached. Because if he was really operating out of emotion, then he would have harbored the resentment that come from a nigga just a couple of months ago. The nigga tried to stone him. So they kept that led the rebellion. He come from the tribe that revolted against me. Moses could have had beef with the whole damn nation. Eternal beef with Aaron. Guess what he told Aaron? He said, the second time I got called up to the mountain, I fasted and prayed for another 40 days because the Lord wanted to kill you. Listen, I ain't looking at nothing in the book. It's in Deuteronomy. It's happened up twice. 40 days, 40 nights came down with the law. And what you did, Aaron, I had to go up and fast another 40 days and 40 nights to keep the Lord from killing you. So there's nothing in Moses' behavior or his reaction that suggested that he harbored resentment for any of that. Moses was sincerely afflicted by the people's state of being whenever they couldn't handle their test. That hurt Moses. Who wants to see their child go hungry? The scriptures tell, Josephus actually tell you, when the men, the first time the Most High tested us with that water, it says what really got to the men was the fact that their women and children were crying. And it said that broke the most valiant of men. They couldn't handle their women and their child's tears. And that's how Moses was about the whole nation. As far as them being ready to kill him all the time at a moment's notice, that was water off a duck's butt. But when it came time to them suffering, he couldn't handle that. And so he got, that's what he spoke out of. But anyway, we're at the moment now where Moses is getting ready to die. The Lord is telling him, reminding him why you won't be going in. Go ahead, Amayetazah. Read that verse, verse 15.
Numbers chapter 27 and verse 15. And Moses spake unto the Lord, saying, let the Lord, the power of the spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation.
See that? This is Moses asking. He didn't. I want you to pay close attention because he's not asking the Lord that it be Joshua. The Most High is going to choose Joshua because the Most High watched Joshua serve Moses for 40 years.
Okay.
Read on down.
Verse 17. Which may go out before them, and which may go in before them, and which may lead them out, and which may bring them in, that the congregation of the Lord be not as sheep which have no shepherd.
See that? He wasn't trying to die with the power, bro. He wasn't trying to take the secrets of the kingdom of the Most High with him to the grave. Like the mentality that you got a lot of these stewards that we have today are. They treat the scriptures and the revelations that Most High want us all to freely understand as some secret, something of power to hold over people. One fucking ring to rule them all, I guess. I don't know. Go ahead, Ak.
Verse 18. And the Lord said unto Moses, take thee Joshua, the son of Nun, a man in whom is the Spirit, and lay thy hand upon him.
Now this is cold. Why did he choose Joshua? Because that's why we read what we read in Exodus 24, Exodus 33, and Numbers 11. Joshua was already his servant and had been so. Joshua had been obedient from the time that Moses came back. Joshua had to be a baby or not even born yet when Moses left. You can calculate a little bit behind how old Joshua is, when he dies, and how old he spent 25 years in the process. The book of Joshua covers a span of 25 years from the time that we crossed over to Canaan and the whole conquest of the land of Canaan, or the partial conquest, because we didn't kick everybody out. That's a span of 25 years. So Joshua was like this young lad when Moses came back. People don't know that, huh? Aaron was 3 years older than Moses, right? Aaron died at the age of 123. Moses died at 120. Miriam, I don't know how old she was, but she died a couple months before Aaron did. Aaron, they all died like in the same year, right? That was a blow to the nation, bro. So the Lord says, choose what? Why am I saying this? Because I'm trying to show you that the Most High recognizes who's serving the body. And he's telling us why. The Most High had already put the Spirit on him. What did he just say here? Right? And the Lord said unto Moses, take thee Joshua, the son of Nun, a man in whom is the Spirit. Well, who is the father of spirits? Who's the only one that could have put it in him? The Most High had Joshua in that disposition when Moses came back. He was reserved already to be that servant. Go ahead, read on down.
Numbers 27 and verse 19. And set him before Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation, and give him a charge in their sight.
When it says a charge, that means you're going to put him in charge in front of everybody. He wanted the entire congregation up on the mountain to see Moses what? Giving Joshua the reins. He was going to operate in the capacity that Moses had. Go ahead.
Verse 20. And thou shalt put some of thine honor upon him.
Uh-oh. There go that virtue again, that honor. This is what accompanies. All this shows you that who the Most High chooses, he be with them. Honor is that recognition, that authority that came with that position. The people are going to lock in. Go ahead and listen. And so that you remember what type of honor he had. Remember, in one of the battles, we're defeating our enemies, some of the families of the Canaanites. The sun is going down, and it was Joshua. Joshua didn't have time to pray. Joshua looked up and told the sun to be still, told the moon to hold its place. And it tells you it did for a whole day. And it said that was the first time that the Lord ever hearkened to the voice of a man. Because when you give orders to the ordinances, you're commanding the Most High, because he's the one who set the creation in its ordinance. It said that's the first time and the last time where the Lord ever hearkened to the voice of a man. That means obeying. And that's the level of honor that had been placed on what? On Joshua at this moment. So much honor of the Most High was on him that even the Most High obeyed him in that moment that he needed the most. But why? That's the question, because he was the next man up, He served the body for 40 years. Brother, be comparing, I'm 5 years and I'm still officer of such and such. That's because you're doing it for the wrong reason. You want to be an officer of whatever. What's the rank? You guys know the rank system. I'm whatever. I can't remember how much. 5,000, right? Been so long. Me and we didn't even operate like that. I'm a young I was here to tell you. You got recognized by doing the work, and whoever wasn't doing the work, they got busted down, and you got their responsibility. It wasn't nothing glorious about it. I'm a young gradually made it up, because the brother that was over him kept on reneging, wouldn't do his job, and whatever. And I get him like 2 times. This brother, this ain't baseball. You ain't gonna get 3. Next time around, boom. Okay, I'm a young That's your responsibility. Literally. There wasn't no paper involved. Why? Because the truth of the matter is, it shouldn't be required if you're here for the right reason. If you're focusing on that piece of paper, that officer of 5,000, then are you doing an officer of a million's work? You don't know 5,000 men. And you what, 30 years old? If you do, you can't name them. tell brothers that about my son, brother. Officer Tenson, nigga, brother, please. I don't even know 10,000 people in the truth. I ain't never been in a building with people, 1,000 people at any given time. Now imagine me trying to deal with that many people. I got 10 kids and can't deal with it. No, they got 5 baby kids. Got me drinking. Officer. Get off. What are you responsible? You might be an officer of 5,000, but how many responsibilities do you have? How many burdens have you decided to shoulder for the nation? And that's what this was about. He had served Moses for 40 years. Go ahead, Amayatazar, finish it up. Call your verse out.
Numbers chapter 27 and verse 20. And thou shalt put some of thine honor upon him, that all the congregation of the children of Israel may be obedient. And he shall stand before Eleazar the priest.
Now, Eleazar, hold on. So a couple of chapters before, Aaron got taken up to the mount with Moses. Moses had to take Aaron's ephod, all the priest garments off of him, and put it on Eleazar, his son. And so Moses, Aaron, and Eleazar went into the mountains. And Moses and Eleazar came down. That's how that went. So now Eleazar is the high priest. Right? It would have been Abihu. It would have been Nadab, but they got burnt alive for offering what? He had 2 older brothers. They got burnt alive for offering strange incense to the Lord. So now the high priesthood fell on him. Go ahead, I'll read on.
Verse 21. And he shall stand before Eleazar the priest, who shall ask counsel for him after the judgment of Urim before the Lord.
Now it means what? The breastplate, the onyx stone on the right shoulder that used to light up those instruments that Most High used to speak to Israel through the high priest. He's saying now, so that means Joshua is going to be the leader of this congregation, and Eleazar will be communicating to me on Joshua's behalf. That's what he's saying. Go ahead.
At his word shall they go out.
Meaning, whatever Joshua say do, they're gonna have to do it. At his word shall they go out. Go ahead.
And at his word they shall come in, both he and all the children of Israel with him, even all the congregation.
Go ahead, finish it up. The last 2 verses.
And Moses did as the Lord commanded him, and he took Joshua and set him before Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation. And he laid his hands upon him, and gave him a charge as the Lord commanded by the hand of Moses.
Well, that's amazing because listen, now there are others, right? You guys can do this study on your own. When it came, matter of fact, this is a few verses. Let's go get listen, just to show you the consistency of this, right? Let me see, maybe that's too far down the line. But it's clearer. It's clearer. I'm gonna go with 2 Kings. I was going to do Samuel, right? But Samuel is a more drawn out process because he was a child when Hannah, the Most High, blessed. I think his name was Elkanah. I can't remember who Samuel's father was, but one of his wives had like 10 sons, and Hannah had none. Hannah was like singing the Whitney Houston song, "I have nothing," right? The Most High blessed her. She made a vow, and the Most High blessed her, she conceived, and when he was weaned, she brought Samuel, and Samuel became a priest of the Most High, a child. Eli was the one who raised him up, and the Most High raised him up to take Eli's place. But the lesson is drawn out. This one is a little bit more concise, so go to 2 Kings chapter 2. And listen, all you're going to find out is this is between Elijah and Elisha. What made Elisha the man? Because he had been the servant of what? Of Elijah the whole time. So it was only appropriate that what? That the mantle, and literally it was Elijah's mantle that was handed down to Elisha. So go ahead. The account is from verses 1 to 15, but I want you to start off at verse 9. You know, the first few verses, you know, the Most High is getting it's known among the community of prophets that the Lord is going to take Elijah by a whirlwind. And so Elijah is going to all of these towns where the prophets dwelt, and he's having his last goodbyes to. So pick it up for the sake of time at verse 9. 2 Kings, right? Chapter 2 and verse 9.
2 Kings chapter 2 and verse 9. And it came to pass, when they were gone over, that Elijah said unto Elisha, ask what I shall do for thee before I be taken away from thee.
Now listen, this is Elijah saying, any requests, brother? Any last requests? Go ahead.
And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me.
The spirit that you had, somebody else that. He was greedy. He response. Listen, Elijah was always under. Let me say this, if it was for the position, he wouldn't have wanted it, because Elijah was living in caves, being fed by ravens, Jezebel trying to kill him. You guys know the thing, right?
Yeah.
You what? If who want to go through what a war is going through now? See, you gotta want this position for the love of the work. Because Elijah, we can read the history, Elijah was persecuted. You guys know that. So when he asked Elijah for twice as much as his power, it was because he knew he was going to need it to do that job. He knew he needed it. He knew he was what? He knew he was half the man. That Elijah was. And so he needed twice the power. People understand. They don't get it on me at the time. That's him recognizing. I'm gonna need more. I'm gonna need twice as much as you have, bro. You guys been going through the history combined with the Chronicles and the Josephus. You know that even all the prophets among themselves, nobody ever met the stature of Elijah, right? Ain't that what y'all have studied? You should have. Elijah, listen, he was Elijah. Somebody come close to Elijah. And so he's asking for a double spirit, not because he's greedy, but because he knows he's recognizing himself as being half the man out. And because he was, I'm going to read on down, I'm going to get this out.
Verse 10. And he said, thou hast asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if thou see me when I am taken from thee, it shall be so unto thee.
This is amazing, because he's like, I ain't anything to do. But he set the criteria. I don't know what spirit, clearly the spirit of the Most High. This is the deal. If you see me when the Lord come and get me, you'll get it. But if you don't see me, if I just happen to disappear, you don't see me leave, you ain't getting it. I mean, read on down, huh?
But if not, it shall not be so.
Yeah, if you don't see me, it won't be so. You should have asked for something a little more attainable. Go ahead.
Verse 11. And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder.
Guess
and
what? We see them in the science fiction movies, where the spaceship comes, the light comes down, it shine on the one that's getting ready to go, but the one that's not going, it don't shine on them. Go ahead.
And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven.
Read on.
Verse 12. And Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof.
Go ahead.
And he saw him no more. And he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in two pieces. He took up also the mantle of Elijah that fell from him, and went back and stood by the bank of Jordan.
Check this out, because you know what? If you read it from the top of the chapter, he was just the last moments of Elijah showing that power. When they had to cross the Jordan, he took off his mantle, slept the waters, the Jordan cross, parted like Moses did the Red Sea. Yep. So now he's ready to see if he got the power. Go ahead, read on that.
Verse 14. And he took the mantle of Elijah that fell from him, and smote the waters, and said, where is the Lord power of Elijah?
Yeah, are you here? Are you with me? Go ahead.
And when he also had smitten the waters, they parted hither and thither. And Elisha went over.
That means the here and there. That means from one side to the other side. Hither and thither. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And when the sons of the prophets, which were to view at Jericho.
When it says which were to view, it's speaking of verse 7. They were on the heap of the watch. Then literally the prophets were like, the sons of the prophet, they're like, we want to see this. And so they were on the hill. They were watching all of this. So they saw Elisha take up Elijah's mantle, smack the waters, the waters part, and listen to their response. Go ahead.
And when the sons of the prophets, which were to view at Jericho, saw him, they said, the spirit of Elijah doth rest on Elisha. And they came to meet him and bowed themselves to the ground before him.
Now, he didn't become as great as Elijah, but he was a bad dude, y'all. He was so powerful. Remember that account, that when he died, a couple of years after his death, there was another person that died, and the people that were burying him, the body fell out and touched the bones of Elisha, and the guy came back alive. Imagine that. Imagine you're dead, but your bones are a quickening power. The term quickening means to bring to life giving. And that's how powerful the virtue that ran through Elijah, it stayed in his bones. Imagine that. But why? That's the more important question, because Elijah naturally was the next man up. But just to show how this chain, right, like the native brothers, this circle isn't unbroken. What would happen with Elijah's or Elisha's understanding? Gehazi, he would be given to material wealth and ended up, remember, he was exposed to all types of miracles as well. And one occasion, he was the one who, when I think the king of Syria, might have been Israel, sent out all of his armies against him. And Gehazi is like scared to death. And Elisha prayed. Elisha said, Lord, open up this young man's eyes so that he can see that they that are with us are more than they that are with him. And he said, the Lord opened his eyes and he saw nothing but flaming chariots and angels on horses and all the mountainside. Imagine having that knowledge. Not just the knowledge, imagine having that confidence, knowing it. And the scriptures tell you that about us. It says the angel of the Lord. This is weird, and I say weird and strange in how it describes it, because he speaks in the plural and the singular at the same time. He says the angel of the Lord encampeth about all them that fear the Lord, and he delivereth them. So if it's one angel, how does one angel encamp? Because these angels be having their principality. These angels, the reason why Michael, Gabriel, Christ himself, they're referred to as princes because they're in charge of armies that are referred to as principalities. And so Michael is the prince of that war. Gabriel is the prince of the messages. You understand? Juriel is that prince that the Most High used to give understanding. Raphael, he's the one that the Most High used to heal. But all of them have legions and legions under them. And that's what the Most High allowed Gehazi to see. So for him, when he was witness to how the Most High used Elisha to heal the Syrian captain, the captain of the Syrian army, Naaman, of his leprosy, he went back and tried to get that payment. What did the Most High do? The Most High had Elisha said, listen, the leprosy of Naaman is going to be on you now and all of your seed forever. And he went out completely leprous because he disdained what he was next in line for. And that happens among our time as well. We've got brothers that do that shit as well, that go through this and us be exposed to a whole lot. Most High did a whole lot through them as well. And then they go after whatever it is that their mind go after, right? Whatever it is whatever that break them. And so they forfeit what the Most High have come. And here's the next question now. So what justified those men, What justified them in being the ones was what they did up until that point. And so now this breach in y'all's work is manifested so that you can know what? That it's time for y'all to stop playing games, It's time for y'all to stop acting like this knowledge is hard to deal with. Guess what it really is? It's no different than it was when I'm a Yakasa, was boots on the ground here. It's no different than when I was boots on the ground in New York. I refer to boots on the ground as our formative years. Brother, we came into this truth. I ate based on what the brothers gave to me, based on what we gathered, what the Most High blessed the people to put in that pot. We had, you know, those 5-gallon water jugs that come with the water dispenser. You put it on top. We had one of those, and on a sign taped on it, donation. And the people, we'd be out there, we would speak we would get up in the morning, go for our prayers, go for our workout, just when we didn't have no business. You might not have 2 and 3 businesses to be able to determine, I want to do this. No choice. You had to get your ass up, be ready to work out at 6 in the morning. Everything we did, then so that we could be on if it was a Friday, we'd be on the corner of 42nd Street and 8th Avenue, 12 o'clock, blowing the horn, reading all the Deuteronomy, hero Israel, the Lord our Lord is one power, and that's right? Kawakab, open it up. Because open it up means I carried the first 4 hours of speaking. Brothers used to tease me. This brother, I'll run me like Kawakab. I'm going to let you pull the problem, and I'm going to come up and teach you. Okay, brother? But let me say this out. And you've been and did all that teaching, soaking wet, sweating in the summer. New York summer. You know, hot town, summer in the city, back to niggas' neck, getting dirty and ready. 70 songs hot. Right? Just saying, listen, in a karate, y'all got these nice aired out sweaters, you know, these shirts with the fringes. But we had thick-ass judo gis on, karate gis on, with leather. Leather, right? With a leather cowhide girdle. Y'all know what the girdle's like.
Yeah.
And the Most High blessed you based on where your mind was at. You be done talk for 6 hours, and then you hear somebody come and drop like coins in a bucket. And you know, them coins went to the men at the top. Don't get it out. I grew up eating cream of wheat and Little Debbie cakes, brother, for lunch and dinner. Lunch we didn't have none. Breakfast was cream of wheat. Then when the Most High upgraded us, we got beans. I used to use the cream of wheat to make the broth. It was all I can say is that taught me, that demonstrated whether or not I was there or not, whether I was there for the right reason. So boots on the ground, what happened is then the Most High would have something happen among the men that were at the top. Sometimes it would be a sickness and illness. Sometimes it would be a breakup. But all of a sudden, the next man up scenario was upon us. Like, who's next? I remember mine came when Ariella had to go to court of some issues, right? And he just, and listen, I was under Ariella, I was under, Rakha was the second man, Aharon was the third man, and his brother named Nathaniel was the fourth man, and then it was me. There wasn't another brother named Asher, but Asher stopped coming, so I was the 5th man up. And when he left and had to handle his business, he put me in charge. And that first one, I'm like all feeling weird, because how come Rakha ain't in charge? How come Aharon ain't in charge? And he already knew them long enough. He had worked with them. I knew he already knew that when he left, things didn't run the way he wanted them to run. I had been there long enough to show that whatever I was shown how I was supposed to do, I didn't give a damn. I would do it the way it was supposed to be done, and I'd be more adamant about it. And so that's what I did. And so before you know it, the Most High is what? This is what it came down to. It came down to who? And I put through all type of stuff. Brothers be crying, I was a chauffeur. I had to get up at 3 in the morning, go from where I was at, from the Bronx, pick a brother up in Brownsfield, New York, and Brooklyn, go to another brother's house, Atlantic, pick them up, and then drive to Ariana's house. Then I had to do it backtrack. Meaning at the end of the night, we didn't got off the kid at 10 o'clock at night. So we talked from 12 to 10, and that's if we used the speaking device. If we still had a crowd at 10 at night, then we went for 2 more hours, but we had to turn the speaking device off because the speaking device license was only up until 10 p.m. So we're out there teaching on 42nd Street to 10 to 12 midnight. Then we got to drive to Brooklyn. That's where the brother's house was at, Ariana's house. We have a big 2-hour meeting out there. It's 3:30 in the morning. Now I take Asher home. I got to take Rakha home. Then I get to drive home and fall asleep all the way, hitting cars, and from behind. on my way home to the Bronx. I can't tell you the day I got up one morning, it's put the ignition in my Jeep and the engine blew up, and I praised the Lord. I was like, I've been relieved. I mean, because brother, backing up. I was like, praise the Lord. I was like, oh, I'm in the snow praising the Lord. Why? Because my car engine blew up. Because brother, now I didn't have to. That's how hard the work was. Most High was burning me at all ends. I was a candle with 6 ends, brother, and all 7 of them was being burned. And then I went through a period where the Most High was chastising me because that was my attitude about it. And I didn't know what the Most High had in store for me. I went from driving all these different boroughs of New York to being put on the road crew, where I was driving from New York to California, to Albuquerque, to San Antonio, to Oklahoma City, to Miami, back to New York, back to California. But most I was, but who knew? Who knew that work in New York from borough to borough was really training you to go from state to state? And we didn't have no job, huh? So we slept on floors. Whoever invited us in, we slept in their garage, we slept on their den floor until the work got built up. Mama, y'all tell you, 1 meal a day, $7 budget. So you know it was gonna be fast food. Fast food, brother. That's how I know my health is a miracle to this very day. And you either learn to love it because of how you're being used and because of the outcome. You can't be there and just expecting for things. You're doing everything to keep it as much as comfortable. Let me show you something. Go to Matthew chapter 7. Matthew chapter 7. I'm gonna show y'all something. This is what scares the hell out of me all day, every day. You know, if there's ever a time when a 60-year-old man wake up in his sleep dreaming, you know, and you so scared that you scream out.
Yeah.
This is what it's over. Yeah. Brothers trying to act like they don't be having them type of dreams. Like I have this one verse alone that produces it for me. I'm gonna show you. Start off at verse 21. Matthew chapter 7 and verse 21. You're gonna read. No, we're gonna read all the way down. Go ahead.
Matthew chapter 7, verse 21. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven.
You notice he said it will. That means what I want to be done, my desire. That's who's gonna make it in. So it's not good enough to be in the school. It's not good enough to be on the moves. Where's your mind at? Are you there reluctantly? You know what it tell you in 1 Corinthians 9, that if I do this thing willingly, I have a reward. But if against my will, then a dispensation, that means a determined amount of time and you cast away. Go ahead, read on down.
Verse 22. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name?
People think this is talking about this is talking about us. It's only talking about the ones who can actually say they prophesied in the Lord's name. This is talking about Christians, it's talking about you. It's talking about me. It ain't talking about the people that serve a false idea about the Lord. It's talking about the people that serve the true idea, but they're not doing it right. They're not doing it. Let the scriptures say holy, or not as in holy like H-O-L-Y, but holy, W-H-O-L-L-Y, as an entirety. Your heart ain't 100% there. You really ain't let Christ in, because Christ don't backslide and be out doing drugs, chasing women. Christ don't shirk responsibility. Christ don't give half-ass. That's the reality of it. Your works determine if Yahweh Shai, the spirit of Yahweh Shai, is in you. Indeed, by your works shall you know them. It's earlier in this very same chapter. You don't just have false prophets, you got false students. You got false servants. Read on down, 22.
Verse 22. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils? And in thy name done many wonderful works?
Right? Go ahead.
And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity.
Now, you're supposed to read that scripture and be honest with yourself and ask yourself, is that talking about me? And for insurance sake, tell yourself yes, so you can put yourself back on the right track. You're supposed to find the flaws in yourself out. That's what's going to get you saved. You're not supposed to be, oh, yeah, I'm okay. I'm not this. Yeah, I got some issues, but this one ain't me. But the one that issue ain't going to get you in. Read on down.
Verse 24. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock.
So before we read down, ask yourself the question, the man that heareth these words and doeth them, what does doing them tell you about that man? Tells you that he's really there. Huh? He did them. When he said that heareth these words, ain't talking about just the verse before it. It's talking about all of his teachings. It's talking about the manner, the spirit in which we serve. Huh? It's talking about the circumstance, the adverse circumstance that we submit ourselves to. The adversity is the signature of the Most High on us. The scriptures tell you that is what? That for this, when you reproached, when you suffer for this work, it says the spirit of glory rests upon you. That's your confirmation, not the comfort. The comfort is spoken against in the scripture. The comfort is called lascivious, soft, comfortable, luxurious. That's why when Christ came and reprimanded these men, that one man about the talent that he did nothing with, what did he tell him? He said, listen, he didn't have to tell the man said it himself. I know that thou art austere, reaping where you sowed not. And so I was afraid, and I wrapped it up into a napkin, and I hid it in the sand. Here is that is thine. Here's what you gave me. And Christ said, you wicked servant, by your own words shall you be condemned. You knew that I was an austere man. You got to go read the definition of austere. Right? The definition of when you guys get tough. I mean, you got that dictionary that I have, but you have it in your phone, right? You know the Webster's one, the unabridged.
Yeah.
Look at austere. All of it. Listen, now when we say that, when I say austere, I'm only referring to the parable that he refers to himself as austere in Luke 19. Luke chapter 19, the parable. It's about the husbandman leaving people with talents. In this one, in Matthew chapter 25, it says talents. In Luke chapter 19, it might say something else. But when he comes back to take an account of people's work, he referred the lazy, the slothful servant recognizing Christ as having been austere. And Christ confirms it, but you got to be austere because you want to know what he says. Like in Matthew 25, same parable or similar parable, he uses the word hard. Both of them share definitions, but they both are to be appreciated independently. Austere is something beautiful. Matter of fact, you have it. I'm gonna get this out. You got the book. You got the thing.
Yeah.
No. Oh, you got the big ass book.
The dictionary.
You got on what you can do. Go ahead and read. But I wanted you to put it on the screen, huh? Like you did one time in another class.
Oh, I did now.
But yeah. You're gonna take a picture of it, y'all. We're gonna go through this. And the reason why I say that is because there is the person that deal these words, right? Therefore, verse 24, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him to a wise man which built his house upon a rock. I'm trying to help you to understand what character is the man that take all these lessons that do them. You're going to find out. He's a person that's operating. There's a verse that says, abide in me. It's not just speaking of the intellectual knowledge given us. He's speaking of the spirit, the character of the person that carries the knowledge. There's a way that there's a spirit and there's a character, there's a quality that you operate in that the Most High honors, and there's a quality that he does not honor. And the ones that operate in this spirit have these qualities. This is a long ass lesson. I don't even know what time it is. We keep on going. Oh shit! Shouldn't have looked at the light. Shouldn't have looked at the clock. Let's keep on going for a little bit more. Okay.
You see it?
No, I can't. Okay, there you gotta make it bigger. I got this one eye and it ain't no good. Okay, Brett, listen. Scroll down. No, brother, you got right there. That's good. That's good. Okay, number one. First time you have to say, while you got this, go to Luke 19, okay? Go to Luke 19 and just read verses 21 and 22.
Okay.
I want to read that verse first before we read this definition.
Okay. Luke chapter 19 and verse 21.
21 and 22.
Okay. Luke chapter 19 verse 21. For I feared thee, because thou art an austere man.
Maybe to get some context, read the verse above that. Read verse 20.
Luke 19 verse 20. And another came, saying, Lord, behold, here is thy pound, which I have kept laid up in a napkin. For I feared thee, because thou art an austere man.
Mm-hmm.
Thou takest up that thou layest not down, and reapest that thou didst not sow.
Now let me say this. What this dude is acknowledging is what he knew, what was required to produce from what that pound he was given. He knew that he was supposed to what? Sow, because Christ was coming back with the expectation of reaping what his other man had sown. He said, I knew this. Go ahead.
Verse 22. And he saith unto him, out of thine own mouth will I judge thee, thou wicked servant. Thou knewest that I was an austere man, taken up that I laid not down.
You knew that I was an austere man. You knew what you were supposed to be doing. You knew that you were supposed to be sowing so I could come back and reap. Go ahead.
Thou knewest that I was an austere man, taken up that I laid not down, and reaping that I did not sow. Wherefore then?
Gathering from the work that I expected for you to do. In other words, he's telling the servant is recognizing to the master, and the master's condemning. He said, you know what spirit you were supposed to operate in. It's austerity that produces that in a man. It's the austerity that the Most High honors and produces through you, blesses your work. Did you finish that verse 22 out?
Yes.
Okay, so look at this. Number one, it is with respect to a person's character. If you are an austere man, you are supposed to be severe in manner or appearance. That means you ain't supposed to look like some whimsical child, right? This person, they'll say, why you always, you got this permanent grimace on your face. You ain't angry if there's a serious countenance because of the life that you undertook. Severe in manner or appearance. Listen to this. Uncompromising. That means the way, this might explain for you how a war rolls. Some of y'all brothers and sisters that might be out there listening to YouTube land, some of y'all brothers that have wanted us to kind of come, do things with other camps or take your suggestions, we ain't doing it. We do not compromise because you ain't showed us that your way works. We know the way that Christ works. Listen to this. Strict and forbidding. That means certain things are not supposed to be tolerated. That's what forbidding is. And then it gives you an example, an austere teacher, right? This teacher don't don't tolerate any talking or note passing in class. That's just how the teacher's austerity comes across. Then it comes back now. Now, the first one is with respect to a person's character viewed externally, right? A subjective, or I should say an objective examination of the person. And I come up with the conclusion that that person is uncompromising. Their appearance is so severe. But the second one is referring to the character that the person himself imposes on himself, rigorously self-disciplined and severely moral. Those are the qualities of the man that the Most High, whose work the Most High blesses are. Rigorously self-disciplined and severely moral. Listen to this, abstinent. That's a whole nother lesson right there, because abstinence refers simply to the things, the indulgences that you are allowed to do, the liberties that you are allowed to exercise, but you choose to forbear them. It's almost like a fast, right? Like you fast food, you fast water. Well, this one is you're fasting. This is just me, likening it to fasting. But what you're fasting, what you're abstaining from, what you're forbearing is just little things. I say little things like entertainment. I don't do no TV, no, what do you call that? Movies. No, it's when I'm on the computer, it's either news or I'm studying. No streaming, no YouTube, no none of that. If I shouldn't say no YouTube, because certain of the news channels are on YouTube, but I'm talking about all the just movies, just quote entertainment. None of it. There's a whole lot of things. I ain't drank alcohol for about 24 years. Right? There's certain things that you gotta give up because you have nothing else to give. And what they do is they result in strengthening your character. First of all, they benefit your health. They strengthen your focus. There's the Most High, he receives that as a sacrifice and honors you with things that you need to perform your duty. But that's another application of austere, but it's more from the person, what they have themselves under. Rigorously self-disciplined and severely moral, ascetic, abstinent, right? Then it goes the austere quality of life in the convent. The convent, like nigga that went to the Catholic Church, right? Nun or what do you call the guys, the men? You know, the padres. Then you see grave, sober, solemn, serious, and austere manner. Now I love number 4, 5. Actually, all of them here and out. Listen to this out. Without excess, luxury, or ease. Your life ain't supposed, you don't need any more than what you need to do, what you've been called to do. Luxury, listen, it's funny because when it says luxury, ease, that right there is the definition of lascivious. Luxury, soft, it tells you to be lascivious is to be soft. Wanton, I mean, you should overindulge. So to be austere is to be without ease, without excess, without luxury, without ease. It's to be simple. It's to be limited, right? Then it goes on to say an austere life. Number 5, severely simple. Listen to this. Without ornament, all the name brand, whatever. Shoes, jewelry, all that type of stuff. Never mind. I'm getting ready to go someplace where it's not even helpful to the class. But number 6, lacking softness. And this is where it goes with Matthew chapter 25, because the very same parable, or I should say a similar parable, this one is dealing with the pounds that were given. Matthew 25 in turn is dealing with the talents that were given. And the person that did nothing with his talent, he said, I knew, master, that you were hard. And it shows you, austere and hard are synonymous. They mean the same thing. Anyway, thank you. That's good enough, Bob. The other one is dealing with, foods and drinks. Anyway, I could go on, brothers, because it really comes down to you all, every man and involved. Go back before we finish to Matthew chapter 7. Let me finish that one. Brother's gonna go home and get on YouTube anyway, so I'm gonna keep you here. I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson years ago about feeling bad and giving the brother the night off. You and Rashwan taught me that. Remember that? Oh, brother. Man, me and Amiyakasa, we got some stories, bro. Shoot. You got it on the other side? Matthew 7, we read verse 21. I think we read 22 as well, right?
Yeah, we're 25 now.
Go ahead.
Matthew chapter 7, Matthew 7 and 25. Well, go back to 24. Matthew 7 and 24. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock.
I'm trying to tell you that wise man is an austere man. The things that he's building with are what? The lessons that he's compiled over his years. That's what he's doing. That's why Christ said, I'm likening him, meaning I'm making him appear to be the one that did all the things that I taught. He's the one that what? So what's that rock represent? The rock is talking about Christ himself. He's the rock, y'all. This First Corinthians chapter 1, verses 3. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, right? That rock was Christ. The point is, he said, whoever do these words, they build their house upon the what? The security of faith. But he called it a rock because he's using the analogy of building a house. Go ahead.
Verse 25. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock.
Let me say this, you know what the beautiful thing is? You're not building this house upon the rock. You're not doing what Christ says to do so that the winds don't blow and the waves will come, because they're coming whether you do it or not. You're building it so that when it comes, your house will withstand it. Huh? Your work will stand. Your work will go on. Your family will go on. I ain't trying to sound like that woman in the damn Titanic movie, right? Your work will go on. But it will. It's what verse 25 tells us that you're going to be tested. Listen, this is the same parable. This parable has the same message that Paul gives us in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, where it says, every man's work shall be tried, of what sort it is, right? For the day shall declare it, and it shall be tried by fire. It's the same analogy. It's saying, whatever you do, the work is coming under what? It's coming under persecution. And if you have done what Christ says, your work will survive. Sound like a bunch of 70s songs tonight, right? Your work will survive. I don't know where this is coming from, y'all. Okay, I guess I got to start going back and getting updated on my songs. But the point is, that's what you want. So we're finding out in verse 25 that the rain, the storms, the wind, the tempest is inevitable. Whether you do what's required of you or not, whether you exercise austerity, whether you abstain or not, whether you sacrifice, whether you pay the dues or not, you're still going to be tested. But if you would have done what Christ said to, your work, and you will survive. Read on down on me at the
Matthew chapter 7, verse 26. And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon the sand.
And what I love about this string of verses is it also helps to define for us the definition of wise and foolish. This one along with, what is this? This one along with Matthew 25 about the 5 versions, the 10 versions, 5 wise and 5 foolish. Both of these parables, this one and the one in Matthew 25, they help to define what foolish and what wise is. Foolish is foolish. The difference between foolish and wisdom has nothing to do with what you knew. Both of you have the same knowledge. The foolish one doesn't do what's supposed to be done with what they know. The wise one does. Wisdom is the correct application of knowledge. The understanding is the circumstance you put yourself in so that you can appreciate having done the right thing and you can go out and duplicate that. That's how you know you understand something. Just like when you got a math class going on and little Johnny didn't understand the lesson. They had to go through the steps of whatever this equation was, no matter how simple or complicated. And then in order for the teacher to know whether or not Johnny really understood, she says, okay, well, come up here and show me on the board. And he goes up there and does it. She says, oh, wow, she's surprised. You got that pretty quick. She does the same thing, a little bit harder, but nothing outside of the steps that she's given. She just makes him look a little bit more complicated, right? Instead of 1 + 1, 325 + 728, right? Same thing, add. But okay, add the one, such and such, add the one, you know how it is. Oh, and then he gets it right. What is he demonstrating? He's demonstrating understanding of the rules to the degree now he can duplicate them. And that's what the Most High expects of us. So when you have this knowledge, he knows that you know what you're supposed to do, but you don't do it. That's the person whose house is going to collapse. Read on down, verse 27.
Matthew chapter 7, verse 27. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell. And great was the fall of it.
Now, let me say this. That house starts off with you. You're a temple into yourself. And then the Most High builds you, and you become a family. Your family members, concerning the men, your family members are all satellites that revolve around you. Are you doing the right thing with your wife, with your sons, your daughters? And sometimes the right thing, guess what it is when you first get them? You got to teach them so that they could be ready for you not to be there, because they're your sacrifice. They're your first sacrifice. You're your first sacrifice, but they ain't count for much. I say that because why? Because the Most High is going to use other things to measure your love for him. That's where the verses come in. He that loveth me, or loveth his wife, loveth his son, his daughter, his father, his mother, yea, even his own life more than me, it's not worthy of me. The Most High is going to measure your worthiness. But will you have prepared your wife and your children for that test so that they can know, no, I love you. This is how I preserve my family, by not putting you first. That's the truth. Like in every aspect, you got to use this. And then I'm gonna tell you something. And the Most High is going to try you. You ain't getting away from it. You're not. It's inescapable on any whatever level you're at. Your lessons are always going to be. You're going to be tested always. The Most High is not going to ever be satisfied until he got Christ in the kingdom putting crowns on us. Your test ain't over until then. It's not even over. And this right here ain't even the real test. The real test is the wilderness. Will you have taken advantage of this time to prepare yourself to do two things? The two things that our forefathers did not do for 40 years. And that was trust and obey. That's it. Two damn things. After all those miracles that they saw in Egypt for a whole year. Imagine you get a whole year of a heads up on getting to witness how the Most High works. You know, you look into the scriptures, you know how long the Most High had us in the wilderness before he was going to take us into kingdom? 2 years.
Yeah.
It was only as long as it took to gather the materials, to build the tabernacle, to get all the priest's garments, to get all the instruments of the tabernacle. That was a 2-year process. Now go take the land. And the niggas was afraid. After everything that they saw happen in Egypt, and people don't know, to say that the Egyptian army was formidable is an understatement. They were bad. You gotta go search the history, the Hittites, the destruction of the Hittite kingdom as far as Turkey. It was a maritime power. It was bad. The Most High broke their asses down with nature. Most High had frogs come in and conquer, flies, lice, bloody water.
Yeah.
Think about that, disease on the animals, locusts eating everything up, darkness. He terrified them. You guys have studied those lessons, right? Wisdom of Solomon 17. The Most High brought some Stephen King, Wes Craven stuff on it. Shit that make you go home and read the Bible. You be to watch the scary movies. You be running around here driving home from the theater, looking in your rearview mirror, thinking somebody's in your back seat. Right? The Most High brought that type of stuff on the Egyptians, them 3 nights of darkness out. And we went around here, light. Then the miraculous escape through the Red Sea. Just one. Most High was throwing miracles out like chitlins, making it rain miracles. And the first thing we do is get in the wilderness and complain about water. Most High should have drowned us in it. Shit, you want water? And that's what we got to get ready for now. This time that we have is to exercise us into 2 things. It's to exercise us into trusting in the Heavenly Father and obeying Him. The sisters got to obey. The brothers you have to obey. You be running around in your work. You could be, this to you, the secret. Like your relationship for the most part with your woman is going to be a mirror of what your relationship is to the Most High. That's the big secret, huh? Then you got to go to the point where you trust the Most High, and He be bringing spirits in your household and things, because you got to learn how to use this knowledge outside of just regurgitating, basic lessons. You got to learn how to think in the Spirit. The knowledge of the Bible is the Spirit of Christ in you, huh? It tells you in John chapter 6, the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit. That's how you keep Him in your home. That's how you keep Him in your mind. And then, and see, if we don't have something, you go through these scriptures. Why do the Most High always have us under affliction? Because that's how that's what He used. That's His strategy to never let us forget about Him. Listen, even before we came to the truth, we come from a people who only think about God when we're catching hell. And when our car break down, can't pay the rent, refrigerator and got messed up, can't afford a new one, right? Some of us is so damn base that, when the girl break up with you, then you just become Jesus'd out. That's the people we are. We only recognize the Heavenly Father when we're depressed. Niggas, we want to go to church. Or in prison. Niggas find Jesus in prison, like Jesus got lost and he happened to pop up in prison. I found Jesus in prison. Really? I never saw the lost poster. Some of us found him in a foxhole, right? In war. Found out that you thought you was gonna get in and out, and all of a sudden there's a war drums is being ready to ship you over there, right? Get ready to ship you over there, Ukraine right now. We find Jesus, y'all. You know that. So in real life, you come to the truth, the Most High afflicts you, because that's one of his many ways of keeping himself on the forefront of your mind. Keeping your mind on him. Because what do we do, when we experience bounty, when we have plenty, we always forget. We forget about them. I'm talking about in the truth. I'm talking about stewards. We done been through so many battles there. In Texas, you guys should know that already. Things were so good that certain teachers decided they weren't going to teach no more. It's the truth, huh? Whole, decades, huh? We're going to teach no more. Things were so good. And what was it that brought about Amayetazar? That great council of 2018 when things went south. Then that very brother who you couldn't get, give me a call, answer my calls, teach a class, brother reached out himself. Why? You were there, Amayetazar.
Yep.
Because the place had hit rock bottom.
Yep. It
was so bad, me and War was talking about what type of jobs we fit to get in the world. I was old back then. I was like, brother, shit. I said, I'm going to be out here in Guatemala sweeping streets, man, and shining cars and stuff. That's the reality of it, huh?
Yeah.
And it took that level of failure for the Most High to cause the very brother who refused to talk to me for 18 years to finally reach out himself. Then the Most High had another source in the same school reach out to me and say, this is what that elder have been doing with me. You're going to always be tested, brother. And so you guys, a war is being taken through the ringer because there's more that the Most High want of him. He don't know what that more is, because the Most High always brings something new to be done. But you brothers have to give more. You do have to give more. The Most High is never satisfied with what any of us give. You have to give more. Huh? And sometimes the more is simply willingness as opposed to doing what you're doing reluctantly. That makes the difference. To be where you are doing what you're doing because you want to be there. You appreciate that opportunity. People forget that it's a damn pleasure, an honor to be able to work with each other.
Yeah.
We treat it like I don't want to work tomorrow. Like you just got like you got sent to the salt mines. You'd be acting like Ingram or wherever you guys got, it's like Patmos. Tomorrow, anything but tomorrow. And you know, your malcontent is because sometimes you have such a nasty attitude with clients and it gets back to a war. And your little feminine attitude sometimes be ready to jeopardize how even you yourself eat. And yet the work marches on, yet the demand still remains. The Most High is not going to back down from y'all. He's going to always demand more. And then when you do everything in the world to convince him that you don't want it, guarantee you get out the way. And the next man's coming in and he's going to make it.
Yeah.
That's what this thing has been like now. Now, I only can speak for 36 years of this, and I know that's not much time. It's not to be a shit. You know, my teacher, 50 years in this thing. But it's 36 years is long enough to have at least recognized the patterns, right? The patterns are there, and they're in every generation, every wave of brothers out. You have those good examples, and then you have those poor examples out. And listen, go to Luke chapter 12 and read verse 34. I just want to show you this.
Luke chapter 12.
And read verse 34.
Luke chapter 12 and verse 34.
Right.
For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
You see that? In other words, if you're where you are reluctant, if the brothers have to always reprimand you for the spirit that you're not in, that you're supposed to be in, that's because you really don't want to be. That's that verse when it says for where a man's heart is, for where a man's treasure is, what's ever valuable to you, it's going to always be in your mind. For where a man's treasure is, there will his heart be also. So your work is supposed to be on your mind. Ask you guys this. What else do you have to give as young men?
Exactly.
What would you be doing 25 years old without this knowledge? What are you doing? That's the better question. We should have machines where you give niggas lung x-rays to show this is your lungs in the world. Then you spend about 2 years in the truth around cleaned up brothers, and this is your lungs on the Most High. Because I guarantee you, brother, we're so contaminated. We come into this truth at the age of 25, learning how to eat. We're a walking sewage.
Yeah.
Niggas be to eat Western bacon cheeseburgers for them his whole life. Mama had him sucking on Farmer John pork links, bacon. Nigga went to go to the health food store, super salad, and get the bacon bits put on your salad. He healthy. Understand? That's true. And it depends on what part of the country you come from. You come from them hog malls, dad part of the South, brother. Somewhere right around the neck of the woods of Texas. Right? Crawdad, pig feed, hog malls, chitlins, gumbo. It's amazing that the Most High will even give us an opportunity. We're so filthy. Then we come here, we find out that we've been forgiven. We find out the price that was paid for our forgiveness. We find out that we're the chosen people, and then we spend the rest of our life doing this reluctantly.
Unbelievable.
You think verse 7 and 21 is not talking about you? Not everyone that says, Lord, Lord, shall enter the kingdom of heaven. You better get in. Listen, I'm going to tell you like the deacon said, you know, back in the church, they had an altar call. With a show of hands, who come from the church experience? Who in there? I guess I can't use that one then. Okay, brother. So I'm trying to use an analogy they can recognize that, you know? In Christianity, Black people Christianity at least, right? Judah Christianity, the preacher be done screamed at you for like 6 hours, then shook you down a couple of times with collection plate. Then at the end, they have this thing called the altar call. Y'all remember the altar call? That's what the preacher, he done stopped screaming, and he brought it down, he bring it down a little bit. The guy in the organ, they ain't going there. Now they playing something a little bit more soul stirring. And now he's what? He's petitioning you to come back to the Lord. Well, that's what the Most High been doing for us. That's what he's did for us. Like he's been calling us back to his holy altar, bro. And the only thing that you got to sacrifice is that filthy monster that you were before he met you in the road. Yeah. And you come here and you be reluctant, but you look and you see the condition that a war is in, and guess what happened? Somebody still got to teach. Your businesses still have to be operated. How much are you going to just lay upon Shamshuan? Listen, this demonstrated that Shamshuan got to step his notch up. Dawiyah got to step his notch up. Listen, when the war comes back 100% healthy, the adjustment that you will have made in his absence is supposed to remain. I'm telling you this. You know why? Because he's supposed to have time objectively to be able to operate it all and know what classes to put together. You can't do that from a subjective experience. You can't do it. Listen, you can do it, but it's not as effective. You have to have men to step up and fulfill. If there's something some administrative type of deal that he can't leave to somebody else, there's a schism in the body. You all been there long enough. You all been there long enough. Especially my Walla. I met you when, brother? 2018? Maybe before? When did you and I meet in the transition of, I ain't putting you on the spot, but I'm just, see familiar face with me. I ain't like my talk shit. You and I got familiar with one another during the transition of Barnabat leaving it and a war assuming the mantle, right? Okay, you know what that was? That was August 2000. That was from May to August of 2018. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's 6 years. I'm saying that why? Because it don't take that long to get what the Most High got to give you. Y'all got to stop holding back. Yeah. All right? Often, I just say that because he's the first man to say, y'all know not to be sitting in that seat now, huh? Brother's going to be sitting behind that pole.
Hot seat, that.
Huh?
That's the hot seat right there.
Hot seat, bro. It look like it's sitting amidst the flames. But I'm not putting them, I'm trying to listen. I'm using this. I see Alcohol over there to the left laughing, brother. I'm just glad to see you on the camera. There was a time when I was using incognito. So you didn't step up your game, but you know the Most High want more. Everybody there, I've known you long enough to know that you can be doing way more. When I say more, I mean more of what's not being done. I mean, assume more responsibility for what you do have and have had. You got to, your survival, your works are at stake. Right? You brothers bouncing back and forth, fighting with these conquerable, struggles. Stop playing around. Only reason why, listen, real quick. I keep saying real quick, but I'm saying to help with you real quick. Go to James, I think it's chapter 1. Let me show you something. James chapter 1. This is my altar call. Hell. I'm a Yetazar?
Yeah.
Let me see. I said James chapter 1. I think I went to James chapter 4. Hold up. Let me get there. Yeah. Start off at verse 12.
James chapter 1 verse 12.
This
Blessed
is talking
is the
about
man.
you guys test that you got to endure. This is all of it. Go ahead.
James chapter 1 verse 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation.
When it's enduring temptation, it's talking about enduring the examination that you're under. Remember, the term temptation, you got two other words that it can be classified as. It can be called a trial or a test. To tempt a person is the Most High's way of getting you to use what you know. That's it. That's what a test is. You've gotten so much information, you've had so much time, and now the Most High puts you through circumstances to see to what degree you're going to execute what you know. This it just goes back to Matthew chapter 7. What will I liken a man to that heareth these words and doeth them? You're going to be tested. Go ahead, read on.
Blessed, verse 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation. For when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him.
Go ahead.
Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of the Most High.
Now, hold on. I got to explain that one. Because when he said, let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of the Most High, that's talking about let no man blame him failing his test. And I'm approving with the next verse. The Most High is the one who's behind all the tests. But when you fail it, he's not the reason you failed it. You are. He's going to show you. So that verse here, when it says, let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of the Most High, that's not telling us that the Most High doesn't tempt us. He's explaining the rationale that weaker men offer when they fail their test. I'm going to prove it. Read on down.
Verse 13. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of the Most High. For the Most High cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man.
So what is that telling us? It's telling us that the Most High is not trying to get you to do evil. He's trying to get you to do righteousness. And that goes all the way back to when he had Moses give us the law. And what did he have Moses tell us? See this day I set before thee good and evil, life and death. Choose ye life that you may live. You don't know a man's heart or a sister's heart until what? Until they're given the option of doing either. And when you make your decision and when you perform your deed, guess what you do? You demonstrate to the Most High what you want. And yes, the scriptures even bear witness to Romans chapter 7, that there's an internal struggle, right? The good versus evil. But guess what you still end up doing? You still end up doing what you wanted to the most. Yes, you did want to do good, but not as much as you wanted to do evil. That's the reality of it. And everything else, anything in between is you playing games with the Most High. And really playing games with yourself, you're playing Hebrew roulette. Not Russian roulette, Hebrew roulette. You know what Hebrew roulette is? We always think we got more time because the Lord is gracious. You don't ever think the bullet is in this chamber because the Lord is merciful and his mercy endureth forever. The judgment is coming. You forget about that chamber. Read on down on the Yetazar.
Verse 14. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust.
So whatever opportunity comes that draws you away, it's what was inside of you in the first place. It's you. It's not her. It's you. It's not him. It's you. It's not it. It's whatever it is. It's you. You run around here like Pookie in New Jack City. You keep calling me. No, you keep calling it. You keep calling it.
Yeah.
And the Most High know he be done taught you so much that yes, he lets Satan take a whoop at you. Why? Because that's why I taught him. And then you can just go find the verses where it says, resist the devil and he shall flee. says that right there, just like all the rest of the words that we read. Resist the devil and he shall flee. Don't even try. You got brothers that be going to the club to air out on the Sabbath. Yeah, I'm going to air out on the Sabbath. Yeah, at the club. And that's when Satan bring that white one. I mean, you guys know me always talking about that one woman that never is interested in you, that's the night where she's interested in you. And you're so evil that you knew it. That's why you went. That's the truth. That's what this verse is telling us. All those circumstances, you be putting yourself in that position because that's what's in you.
Yeah, it's true.
Believe me, we speaking from experience. we ain't speaking from nobody out there in the church saying amen. Ain't nobody said amen. We said that's true. Go ahead, Amiyatazar. Read verse 14 again.
Verse 14. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then when lust have conceived.
That when it says lust, that means once you've been acted upon, the term lust means desire. Once you set yourself up first, you put yourself in that environment where such a deal, where such a desire can be offered and catered to, then you go and you perform it. You conceive it. That means once you've been committed to that lust, go ahead.
Then when lust have conceived, it bringeth forth sin.
And there you go, and you did the deal out.
Yeah.
Now, what does this have to do with what we're talking about? It goes back to Luke chapter 12 and verse, we're not finished it, but it goes back to Luke chapter 12 and verse 34, because that's what was more valuable to you. For where a man's treasure is, there will his heart be also. You make them mistakes because they're not mistakes. Those are not mistakes, those are decisions. There's a difference. Mistake is a decision that you make uninformed. That's all. The shit you do is willful sin. That's the reality of it. And you have to listen. And you have to be hard on yourself. That's what we read austere. That's the quality of Christ that he respects. Because why? Because that is one of the many ways that it is to abide in him. It means his spirit. It's a way that Christ rolls, and you have to operate like that. That's how you evoke that spirit to accompany you more intimately. You can't feed yourself evil thoughts. You can't feed the evil thoughts with what? With just pick up one of them girly magazines, right? What that's gonna do? Niggas talking about, I'm just reading the articles. Oh, really? Remember that thing back in the day? But we pick up the joke is the guys be reading them Playboy magazines because of the articles. Really? Yeah, the lack of the article of clothing is why. That's the truth of it. The absent article of clothing is why you pick up the book. Listen, now let me say this. I'm just using a basic animal instinct example. So what does looking at them images do for you? What, make you think about John 3:16 or something? I'm trying to show you. So that means you have what? You have stimulus that you can engage in that feeds your flesh, or you have stimulus that you can engage in that feeds your spirit. And that's what this work is about, man. This work is about listen, a young man, he's supposed to be working from early to the night. Listen, you're supposed to have no more time from work outside of work and studying in school. Servicing the body and preparing and making yourself more capable of servicing the body. It's the life of a young man. Yeah. That's what keeps us out of trouble. See, back in our own setting, we had our fathers and whatever craft they were, right? My dad was a carpenter, then I was being brought up as early as I could hold a hammer and not be, and not injure myself. But even before I could do that, he would have had me what? Learning all of the tools of my trade by having me clean up, putting everything in its right place, having the whatever, what do you call it? A carpenter shop out? What is it called? Wood shop, shed, whatever it is, having all that place prepared to go to work. And after you're responsible for sweeping up all the sawdust, whatever the what do you call it? My mind is in Spanish, so I don't know how to say certain words in English.
Apprentice.
No, I'm talking about all the materials, like whatever, wood chippings and shavings and stuff like that. You got to sweep the place up and put all of the tools back in their place. And then I will be working on something with time. You might be about 10 years old by now. And I would say, listen, give me such and such. Give me that. By 10, 12 years old, you will have learned the names of all those instruments. That's how it was with fathers and sons. And the mothers, it was handed down, but they had to hand down to the daughters from as early as you could begin with them.
Yeah.
That's the truth. That's how we did it. We would have time running the streets. That's how we learned our trade. That's why they said, oh, he get this knowledge. The carpenter's son, think that Joseph boy. His brothers Judah, John, and Joseph, and all his sisters here too. How did he get that knowledge? You know why that scripture is there? Because when you read the end of Ecclesiastes chapter 38, it lets you know that the Most High, literally, it was the habit where he tells you he didn't give wisdom, the type of wisdom he gave men to deal with judgment. He didn't give them the skilled workers.
Yeah.
People don't be realizing why did the people respond to Christ when they heard him speak and his reasoning? Because of what his father was, and therefore what he wasn't supposed to know that. And it says, and they were offended that this carpenter will be telling us about the kingdom of heaven. It tells you the place where he did the fewest miracles was his own town, because they rejected him. They wouldn't believe it. That's why he said, a prophet is not without honor, save his own family and his own town. So they wanted him to be the carpenter. All right, come get your chair, nigga. They didn't get the healing. They didn't get the message. That's in there. Why? Because customarily, the Most High didn't choose those type of men of those occupations, to make them judges, to give them wisdom, to teach them to discern good from evil. All of that is what the Most High tell you who he didn't deal with. So that's why they were shocked and offended that Christ should dare to teach them. But then you read the beginning of chapter 39, Ecclesiastes, it continues the message, and it lets you know the ones customarily who were the ones that the Most High gave the knowledge to. And it opened up actually in chapter 30. Guess what he tell you? He said, a man that have leisure. He that have leisure, like free time. So in order for you to get study time, guess what you got to do to the Most High? You have to become so disciplined in your responsibilities. And that discipline in your responsibilities has to spill over into your dynamic outside of work. And when that discipline does, you will begin to do wiser things with your time. You will begin to open up that book and you will really study. You'll be putting all them lessons on paper. You'll be drawing up let me say this, connecting the dots. You'll be investing time in that word. The Most High will give you spirit that will make you more effective at what it is you do. And guess what happened? The Most High will manipulate the circumstances where he will move you into the positions where you're more capable and qualified of managing the operation. But in order to know how to manage that operation, you have to know the operation. And so you have to come from the ground up. You have to fight for study time out. You got to show the Most High that you want to study. And you know you don't go home and just crash. You go home and you find shit to get into, either the clubs, shooting pool, drinking. But guess what you could be doing? You could be reading that Bible. You could be going back over that before you know, you can say, okay, I'm going to take a Ward's class from the Sabbath, and I'm going to break it up into so many days, and I'm going to knock it out 30 minutes at a time. The Most High want to see you invest in him. Do that for the ones you chasing. Whatever it is that you want, you'll be investing time in. What you do? Then you run around here and give the Most High an eye wink. Joe, I cracked the book. Your flesh is so strong that when you do open the book, nigga end up nodding off, fighting and can't. That's because you won't go through the right dynamic. Get your ass up, put some water in your eyes, come back down. Stop sitting back comfortable, sit on the edge of your seat. You know, I'll tell you what I've gone through. There's a time when I, for years, did not have a chair on purpose. I'm gonna get this out. The whole time we talk, what did we have at the school, at our schools? Stools.
Big tools.
Stools, damn it. Them little short ones. The ones that you put your kid on need a Happy Meal on. I used to have to stack 2 and 3 to keep it from breaking under me. But why did I do that? Because we worked from 8 in the morning to 2 in the nighttime. 2 in the morning. Literally. Then we had tell them what your first few years of class time was.
It was 6 hours, right?
I'm talking about what time our classes started. When you got here.
That was off. Yeah, that was after work. At midnight, wasn't it? It was late.
Our class didn't start till 2 in the morning because our business didn't close until 1 because we shared a patio. We were in a patio with a Mediterranean food restaurant. And them clients would be coming in for them late night meals. And so 12 o'clock is when the last people that came in, they would close the outside doors and we'd be sitting there waiting. And people, they come in and they check out the store before they know, well, we're going to come back, once we've been eating. So we was there waiting and the niggas ate. Shit. Then once we closed the doors at 1 o'clock, now we sweeping up and getting the thing ready, closing up all the containers for the next day. So we didn't finish until about 1:45. Then they have to walk to my house to class. Then I would keep them from about 2 to 4:30. All right, I'll see y'all at the school. And I know they're gonna be tired. So I'd get to the store before them. I get there at 7:30. They come grabbing in at 8:15. I said, didn't I tell you to be here at 8? You have to fight. But guess what? Over the years, the Most High changed it. The dynamic of the city, it would die down earlier. We went from having class and like at 2 in the morning to having class like at midnight. Then we started having class at 8 o'clock. Why? Because we were able to close the store early. The Most High was bringing the money way early. And then I had started, people were bringing in, students were coming and the people were, we were teaching people and we was having class from 4 in the afternoon. So I would be teaching from 4 in the afternoon. I would stay at work. Then at 7 o'clock, he'd close up, come and join class. And every class went from 4 in the afternoon till 12 midnight. But it took them first years for us fighting like hell to show the Most High that we wanted to have class. We was having class at the most, listen, the people that we met, you know what one brother always stays in my mind? Do you remember Alex Lima?
Yeah. Yeah, he was a light-skinned dude, right?
He was a Benjamin. He was a Guatemalan brother. His father was Benjamin. His mother was Guatemalan. You remember, that's him.
Yeah, I know.
We talked to him in the afternoon, and he came to do some tourist stuff. So he had a plane to catch to go to Tikal. He said, man, I really want it, but I won't be back until 3 in the morning. I said, you call this brother? I'm a Yetazah. I said, the minute you call him, bring him to the house.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, I said, I'm thinking this dude ain't going, I'm waiting up. I'm a Yetazah call. Brother's here. I said, bring him on by. Got to the house at about 3:15, and we had class till 7 in the morning, and the brother took off. He still writes. I got his email. He wrote.
Oh, wow. That's brilliant.
He wasn't gone.
That's good.
Listen, guess who's messaging me all day, every day now is Antonio from Nicaragua.
Oh, wow.
Mentioning we can build a school, and I have to tell you, that's a young man's work.
Yes.
That's a young man's work.
It is.
We had all of that time. But when you show the Most High, when you inconvenience yourself to show the Heavenly Father that you want His word, I'm telling you, guess what happens? It's just circumstances shift, right?
Yeah.
Our circumstances, it looked like it was adverse at first. The business started dying down later at night.
Mm.
But guess what was happening? The Most High was bringing more in earlier in the day.
Mm.
So when we started closing up at 9 o'clock, closing up at 10, at 8, and like the last few years, we just closing up at 7. But listen, it got so good. I want you, that's so good that we was having class all day, and we had to be interrupted after about 3 or 4 hours of class because the client would come and they would make a purchase that would cover what we should have made our hourly quotas up until that point. It was the most wildest thing. So we taught oldest Amayatazar.
Yeah.
We taught him in the patio.
Yeah.
During store hours.
Yeah.
Sherelle got taught like that.
But there was a love that wasn't there. There was a love for what we did.
Exactly. We loved it out. When the Most High saw that we really loved teaching, well, our business was based on what got done, the teaching that got done. We opened up, we go, Amayatazar would hit the street. I done got all the business out the way. The students pop up. We just kept the door open. We stepped in the patio, teaching, having class. We had so many students. We ended up the store itself had, that's where Thomas meet up.
Yeah.
Who else?
I never forget the dude that was, he remember the dude, there was a guy who tried to leave the country, but the most won't let him leave.
Brother. And it's not, let me say this, but how many weeks?
For real, that was a funny story.
He couldn't get a flight out. That was the most. But remember, he kept trying to get back to his mama. That was that dude.
Exactly. Yes.
And then you had Donovan, who Aban destroyed.
Yeah.
Remember, Donovan was the brother that was working on his PhD. He got taught the knowledge and had relinquished all thoughts of that higher education. He already had his master's, right? Yeah. And Abayasa was the one rapping to him. He got him in the class, and this brother was freed up. And this brother came from California and told him, listen, man, you better work on your PhD. You're greater than being out here selling incense. Yeah. They literally got destroyed him. Yeah. But guess what happened to that brother? That brother went back to California, and 2 years later, he died of cancer. Yeah. And he was a strong ass dude. Yeah. Right? He was one of them dudes that looked like Will Smith. But listen, I'm gonna let y'all go. I just want y'all to know that this circumstance that you are operating around the war is an indicator. It's how the Most High requires more of us. And literally, the more that he wants from a war is a war gotta have time. He got it. See, go there real quick. Just real quick. Stop laughing on me, Yatazar. Go to Ecclesiastes, right? Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 38, and you call me out the verse on the Yatazar. You know what I'm talking about. Not the whole thing. I just want to make this point 24. About what it is that the Most High wants of a war. So it's going to be chapter 38.
From verse 24?
Yeah, that's it, verse 24.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 38, verse 24. The wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure, and he that have little business shall become wise.
Now that verse, that's enough. It says the wisdom of a learned man. So what is it that this person already has? He already got knowledge. But now he needs time to sit back and meditate and plan so that he can take what he needs and do the right thing with it. Remember, the person's not ignorant, he's learning. But wisdom is the correct application of knowledge. And in order to be able to what? To handle what you know and use it properly, he's telling you, you can't listen. Read it again, the wisdom of a learned man.
The wisdom of a learned.
Go ahead.
The wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure, and he that have little business shall become wise.
So what does that mean? That means you guys not supposed to do that. No. Guess what you got to do? You got to fight and work to show the Most High that that's what you want.
Exactly.
That's what you got to do. The brothers that's in the position to listen. Back in the day when I was coming up, my formative years, the dynamic that I had was we taught our camp days, our going out and speaking days was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I had Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday per se off. Those were the days that I actually went to school, right? At the school. But during the course of the day, I studied in the mornings, and then this brother Karash, he would take me around, brothers from New York, he would take me around and show me all the old bookstores, all the antique books out of print, and I would be up in them places all day, every day. Then my opportunity came. I'm in class one Monday night. Lahab shows up very late. Yaquab says, listen, brother, who's the highest ranking man right now? And everybody points at me. Now I'm like, well, Lahab, he said, brother, why don't you go up there and open up class? I said, okay, Yaquab, but why don't we just give Lahab a couple more minutes? I was afraid, right? You can't just roll up on that podium. So we waited for about another 15 minutes. And Yaquab looked at me and said, brother, what you waiting for? The second coming? I got up on the podium and I said, okay, are there any questions? Brothers asking me questions. I'm an hour into my class. And Lahab opens the door. He looks at me on the podium. He gives me the thumbs up and he never came back. That's how I got Monday. So now I got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I'm busy. But word got around the elders. Kawakab was blowing up Lahab's class. So before you know it, Kazak comes to me and says, listen, man, I've been trying to get freed up, brother, go get some things done, some business and stuff. What do you think about my Wednesday class? I said, I got that day off too. And then the next elder came and gave me Tuesday. So I was busy 7 days a week.
Wow.
I was going out doing street teaching Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Monday through Wednesday, I continued with my studying, going and check out bookstores, but I had to be at the school by 5. I would make it a point to get there because the trains were too unpredictable. Come from Brooklyn to Harlem, the A train or the 2 train, depending on what area I was at in Brooklyn and wanted to get to Harlem, I made it a point to be there by 5. Yaquab got there. He lived right around the corner, right at the top of the head of the corner. He would come and open the doors of the school about 15 minutes before class started. And so I'd be right there with him. That's how the Most High freed up my time. On Wednesdays, I operated with this brother Yashuan, the Sons of Thunder. I went to their street speaking. I stayed there until it was about time for me to leave. Thanks, Yashuan. I made it a point to be busy. But then the time came where I had to take all of the lessons and know. And guess where the Most High gave me my leisure? First time he sent me out on the road. The first trip we made to brothers from Albuquerque knocked on our doors. Now, this was back in the day when New York, everything that popped up at the school out of New York, they directed it to my attention, literally. Because nobody else at the time was outside of correspondence. They wasn't attending you if you wasn't going to be in New York. So some brothers popped up at the school from Albuquerque, and they sent them to our house in Brooklyn. Brothers knocked on our door, the brother opened the door, hey, Shalom. Oh, y'all, come on. Let's finish my shot, brother. Who the hell are y'all? Brother was from Albuquerque. They stayed with us for 10 days. Oh, y'all put me in charge of them. I took them through a whole soldier program. Last day before they left, I asked them, I said, listen, what do you guys think about the idea of us coming up and opening the school in Albuquerque? And they leapt at it. About 6 months later, they sent some train tickets to Ariella, myself, and Ariella decided to take Aharon. This was when we got to the train station on the 26th of September 1992. This was the day I met Barnabas. It's the day I met Mashab. This is the day I met Yohanan. It's the day I met Shakar. All of these guys that was out in Albuquerque, they was all in the street. They had gotten taught the truth by this brother named Abanazar who rode with Mashab. They was in the Navy. So I'm most happy working. But when they brought us out to Albuquerque, guess what it was, y'all? little retirement, looked like would be a retirement town in the desert. There wasn't nothing going on. All we did was get up in the morning and work out till noonday and come back and study. That's when I got to put all my notes together. That's when I got a time to come up and breathe. That's when I got a time to really know how to put a class together. That's how I got taught to discern what was unfolding before us. And it turned out that when it was time to leave, the brothers like, no, man, we need y'all to get back faster. So they didn't want to put us back on the train. They brought us a van, right? A Ford Ecoline 150. And the brothers that I had left in California when I first went to New York, they found out we were that close. They said, man, you can't be this close and not stop by and hit California. But the brother that was in charge, that we left in charge in Albuquerque, he's a twin brother in San Antonio. This is how San Antonio got put on the map. Yohanaga's twin brother, right? I heard them one day. It was in a bitter argument. This when I was staying with Yohana. Bitter ass argument. Now, you're trying to act like you ain't listening to nobody's phone call, but they talking like I'm talking class. And they was going at it. I was just like, hey, bro, everything gonna be all right? Not trying to be nosy, but like, he was like, yeah, man, that's just my twin brother. I said, your twin brother? Damn. He was like, yeah, man, this brother, he been wanting to come down there too. And I was telling him, if he come here, he gonna be, on the lowest man. But he was going at it. And I said, well, listen, brother, the next time you talk to him, I said, you mind, me talking, rapping with him? And so a couple of weeks later, he talked to him, and I got to meet him over the phone, and I posed the same question. Hey, listen, brother, instead of you clashing with your brother, what do you think about the idea of us coming down there and teaching y'all down there in San Antonio? This is back when the school was on an apartment off of Babcock and Data Point. So you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Is it Babcock and Data Point? Well, Babcock and Data Point run the same way. Which one is it? Data Point runs one way and there's another. It's either going to be, is it Bandera Road? Been so long since I've been in San Antonio, Texas, in 21 years. 2003 was the last time I was there, about this time past. Anyway, I let the brothers know, listen, we got to make a stop off for a few months in California, and our way back, we'll hit up San Antonio. When we did, it was like December, and we was only able to stay for 10 days. But that's when the Most High, in other words, all of that trek, it was about a year it took, right? Yeah, it was a little, how long was it? I can't remember how long it was. It wasn't a year. It was so many months each place, but it was 10 days in San Antonio. But those months was when the Most High put all of the things that I had been going through at the school under all of that high, no time to sleep stress. And I got a chance and it all fell in. It just got clearer. But I had been working toward that. And the Most High free. Listen, and I went through this part where I was like, remember, let me tell you what happened. So when I was all praising the Lord for my car blowing up, I got sick. I got food poisoning and almost died. The Most High punished me for that. I got punished severely, brother. It took me about 4 months to recover from that. And I ain't going to tell you what I got taken through, but I got taken through something that configured my mind for the rest of my life in this work. Put it like that. I've been on fire ever since. And I didn't lose my fire. I didn't realize that I had a disdain. I had a hatred for how the Most High was using me. And I didn't appreciate it because I didn't know what was underway. I didn't know what was being done. But he whooped me up really good, right? And then about 3 or 4 months after that, we were on the road and I understood it. And every now and then I get some kind of way, I get hit hard. I'm telling y'all, the Most High, he'll hit you hard, So that verse right there is what the Most High is letting the war know. I'm telling you. And you guys got to fill in the gaps. This thing, what's required of you don't take 6 years. Don't take 5 years. It don't take 2 years. I was in New York before the Most High sent me out a year and 3 months. A year and 3 months and I was gone. And I ain't been back since. And I say in the back meeting, I haven't been stationed there, been gone ever since. You got to take your calling serious. Because if you convince the Heavenly Father that this is burdensome to you, he will relieve you of this burden. That's what he'll do. And that's not what you want out. The Most High will pull that spirit that he have on you off. You're here because he have a spirit on you. His spirit is on you. That's why you're here. You're not here because you some deep brother.
Yeah.
Because he has use for you and he got a spirit on you. And he'll pull that spirit off. So a war is fighting his battles, but in the meantime, y'all got to be thinking about it. The work can't skip a beat. This work is not contingent upon a war's presence or absence. He's here to facilitate what? Your growth and your development, but you got to grow and develop. The Most High want him to be a little less involved in the day in and out. I'm telling you, that's what Shamshuan and Dawiyad and Elisha can handle, or whoever else is ready to step up. And it tells you, read verse 25.
Ecclesiasticus in Apocrypha, chapter 38 and verse 25. How can he get wisdom that holdeth the plough?
The plow is talking about what? Whatever your instrument of work. How can he get wisdom? Meaning, how can he take the knowledge that he knows and learn to use it properly if he's always occupied in this work? If he's hands-on. Go ahead.
How can he get wisdom that holdeth the plough, and that glorieth in the gold, that driveth oxen and is occupied in their labors, and whose talk is of bullocks?
So this verse is just telling you, is using animal husbandry as an example to show you that the person is too busy to even what? Benefit from what he's learned. Remember, we're not talking about an ignorant man. He said the wisdom of a learned man. That means once you learn, you need time to be able to what? To inculcate, to sit back and make observations and begin to apply the reasonings that's coming to you. And he can't do that being too hands-on. He has to be in a position now, and the Lord's not that type of guy to do that. The Lord's going to be that's not right. He's going to be everywhere at all the time at the same time as much as he can. And so the Most High does things like this to slow you down and impose that dynamic on you. And he does many things in that process. First of all, he'll be humbling you to show you that you ain't nothing, that everything that's been, that you've been involved in up until that point, that it's been him. How do you know? Because look at you now, you can't even walk. But that's needed for what's coming next. That's needed for the level of his attention that's going to be required. And the level of his attention that's going to be required, brothers, you guys got to step up. You guys got to get more hands-on. You got to be more responsible and more reliable in that. Because if you're not, his mind is still going to be there. Why? Because you ain't doing it right. Your heart is not there, so his to be. That's what this is about. Listen, like I said, I went through this so many times, and it's happened to myself over and over. When you don't disengage and cross a certain threshold, when you don't execute a certain type of discipline and tie yourself down, the Most High do stuff like that to you. He injure you, he immobilize you, and ain't nothing you can do now but ponder and meditate. And then we get caught into a circumstance, an attitude, and it's prideful. We don't want to be like that, but we really think that the next man under us can't do it. This is something I saw coming up. Why? Because that's what you get in shows. That's the truth. But neglecting to realize that the Most High, it was his spirit that put you in that position. And before you in that position, the man over you didn't think you could do. This is what I've just seen with my succession of teachers and myself. And that's what taught me that, no, anybody could do this. Because it ain't us doing it. It's us going through the processes to what? To prove ourselves as a reliable vessel. through whom the Most High can work. That's where the discipline comes in. That's where the good habits come in. That's where the abstinence is used to convince the Most High. All of that is what the Most High says, okay. And then, why did we read what we read earlier? Because everything that was done, it was always the Most High putting his spirit on brothers. It was always him. Okay, go ahead and take Aaron up, take Joshua up there, such and so and so, right? Oh, give me them 70 other men. Oh, there goes Elijah. He got some spirit now. It's always the Most High giving that spirit. And he said he give to all men liberally. But you got to show them that you want it. And I'm going to tell you right now, you guys, your work and the demand, it needs it. You guys got to stop giving the bare minimum. You're young. You have nothing else but energy to give. Exactly. But you got all your energies split. Like you're like a river that's a delta. Y'all know what a delta is, right? It's like you got the river and then it splits into all these different parts at the head of it. You're too spread. You're too divided. You got too many things that you want to burn your youth out on. You got to come and be, that's why the scriptures say with singleness of heart. There's one thing only. Yep. Yes, if you got any last words, I'm going to let them go. Because I've been lying. I've been telling the people real quick.
Yeah, I think the whole message behind this is just, as you mentioned earlier, it's like loving what you do, and just wanting to be the best servant you can be. Ultimately, that's really what this is about. Just achieving your full potential in the spirit. One day a war's not going to be there. One day Shamshon's not going to be there. One day Dawyar's not going to be there. And you guys need to be preparing yourself for that day. And it just comes every day, just giving your best, giving your utmost. Where else are you going to be? I really can't understand how you can be in this work and be doing it reluctantly. I just don't understand that. Like, why torture yourself? If you're going to be reluctant, you might as well not be there. Like, to enjoy this, take pleasure in what you're doing. It really is a privilege to be able to work with brothers, to live with brothers. Honestly, like I hate working with Esau. I don't understand how anyone would prefer to work with the nations rather than with Israelites. I don't understand that. You guys need to really learn to take pleasure in what you do. Thank the Most High for calling you for giving this opportunity. So honestly, it's a wonderful privilege.
See how long I'm a Yetis, I held y'all over now, so we're gonna let y'all go. Put the blame on him. Yeah, you saw long that brother made you hold y'all over. So y'all gotta work in the morning. We're gonna see y'all later.
This was our dynamic though, right? The amount of times I would get like 3 hours sleep, like we have to be back in the store. That was just our dynamic.
That's what I said. I'm really getting started, so I gotta let him go now. Because I literally caught my real wind just now. So I'm laughing. I really just caught my wind, brother. I'm ready to go. Listen, pick it up at verse 26, right? Y'all enjoy. Hey, listen, man. Y'all work. What's happening tomorrow? What's happening tomorrow? Do you know with the Sabbath class? Do you guys know Eliashah?
Eliashah is not here.
He went on and took off home?
Yeah, he got to get up for delivery in the morning.
Is that you, Amiyakir?
Huh.
So what's your dynamic like tomorrow, bro?
For the Sabbath class, I'm not even too sure if a word's going to come through or Samsung's going to open up.
Right. Well, anyway, the Most High will be with you. But see, this is the case in point that I'm bringing out. This is why you got to step up. The Sabbath class is not just for you guys there. Back in the day, before all of the whole streaming thing, okay, But now you guys have a responsibility in the service that you offer to people that you don't even know yet. You probably will never meet them, but you guys be streaming your Sabbath, right?
Yeah.
So you can't just, the hiccup can't just result in that. Next man up.
Yeah.
That's the reality, huh? Next man up. We're supposed to move remember, this is the work of the Heavenly Father. This is a redundancy that should have been already worked on. I'm not talking about from a war's responsibility or appointment. I'm speaking of from what you would have demonstrated that would have exercised you to that position.
Yeah.
Next man up. Did the Sabbath not come this week? Will the war back go out and the Sabbath is only 6 days out the week now? Then we got a void and then we pick up a day one again? No, brother, next man up. Y'all got to start. You have to think like that.
Yeah.
That's how remember, we serve the Most High. The Most High, the Most High took a day off from your heart. Now she took a day off from your blood pressure. And I'm going to take a break. That nigga blood pressure can make it through the way it make it through. Right? He took a day off from your protection. If the Sabbath meant your ass having to go through and then confront all forms of perils and make it through, the best way you make it through, if you make it through. What if that's what the Sabbath was like? No, you still get protected on the Sabbath. What if that was the day that you didn't get to eat or drink anything? Because why? Because that's the day I'm just not making provisions for people. That's how you have to think. You have to think the benefits that we receive from the Most High are in this. Our families, every place where they are, they're sleeping peacefully, free from harm, free from threats. That's the Most High's blessing. It's the Most High's providence over us. That's his protective hand over our household. What if he withdrew that until the Sabbath classes got back up and running? What if he said up until the Sabbath classes get up and running, your businesses are not going to generate money. I'm going to cut off all your clients. Maybe you would take it serious, but you don't see. That's why he's doing this. That's why he provides for us. You got people right now out running around committing suicide, killing. They're in certain measures of desperation, the homelessness, because they don't have what you have.
Yeah. So
you guys have to fight. You have to begin to take your responsibilities. You have to know that you're not here just to occupy a desk and to carry some luggage or whatever it is you be moving. All of that is part of your capacitation. You've been trained.
Yeah.
You've been trained to pass this on, like it says in Timothy, to other men that be able to teach other men also. So y'all fight, do what it takes, but you gotta listen, you gotta step it up. Every man have to step it up. All right? All right, brothers. I'll be looking forward to talking to you guys next month.
Shalom, sir.
Shalom, brothers.